Hi guys, this is Rick Leonardi, penciler for Spider-Man 2099, Cloak and Dagger, and a zillion other things besides. Robin Lives, coming out next month, is my latest. And the podcast you need to be listening to is 11 O'Clock Comics. You got that? 11 O'Clock Comics.
Return of the Mac. Woo woo. Nice.
Return of the Mac.
You lied to me, David. Why'd you lie to me?
You were there. I'm sorry.
I couldn't help it. I had to watch. I learned stuff. I learned a lot of stuff.
Couldn't look away.
I'm watching you.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Craziness abounds. Yep. Even the dogs are getting it on.
Yeah, they agree.
Dude, the thing, as I mentioned to you guys before we started, my oldest son is back from Washington D.C. for the weekend visiting us, and my chance, our alpha male dog, is like beyond excited. He cannot contain his excitement.
That's awesome.
So yeah. But so apologies for the barking, because he's just, every time he sees Colin come out of his room, he's super excited.
Those taking score at home, remember, last episode, football draft, Jason's fault. This episode, dogs, Jason's fault. So we know we're
cinema verite, dude.
Yes, I know. We know how this rolls, and we know how you roll. That's why we are bringing you another one of these 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 976. Dap has the walnuts, and I am Vince B.
You are Vince B. And I'm David A. Price.
That is true, and of course, I am Pecos Pete.
Wow. Look at you.
Ooh, hell yeah.
You're not Pecos Pete. You're Jason Wood, everybody. And Jason, who was that just interjected?
Well, I think generally speaking, our audience, our beloved audience and community are pretty righteous people, but even they can get caught up in some like conspiratorial nonsense every now and then. And there was this budding conspiracy of late in our community that the three of us had a falling out with one of our most beloved people on the planet.
No way.
And,
who said that?
Yeah, a lot of people thought that, because they thought that it had been a minute since we had our fourth chair in the fourth chair, and then we checked, and they were actually right. It's been over 8 months since our brother from the West Coast, Mr. Tony Fleecs, has joined us on the show. So welcome back.
I'm back, baby. I've when it was 8 months, I was like, we could do a year. That would have been something. But I was more excited to come hang out with you guys and to hit that.
Were you willfully avoiding us? Is that
No, we went on that tour thing.
Yeah, he went on the road.
I was driving around the country. I was.
How'd that go, by the way? Because that seemed absurd to me. But
I know you told me. You said the ROI on it was never gonna pan out.
Was I right?
Well, no. I mean,
thank you.
I had made the money back for it before I left. No, the time invested, I think, was well spent. So for those just joining us, since I was last here, I went on a tour of comic stores across the country, from here in California down through Las Vegas and through Arizona and Texas and down to Florida and up the East Coast, and then down through Pennsylvania and Ohio, the home of comic book, like the birthplace of comic books, and then all the way back through the Midwest and back here, and I hit like 50 comic stores. I planned to hit like 40 some, and then we did all kinds of pop-ins when we would be in a town that had other comic stores. We would stop at other comic stores, and so I would. The point of it was to just sort of keep in a comics industry that is volatile, trying to do a ongoing comic series. Is foolhardy. But I have one. I have a book that's popular right now, and so the point of the trip was, well, we got a trade coming out. Let's go push that. Let's go shake hands and kiss babies and meet these retailers that we're sort of partners with on this thing. And I did, and I think it sort of has worked out. The numbers are holding. I mean. The rest of the world is sort of conspiring against us to make people want to conserve even more money and maybe cut down to just shelf copies or no shelf copies. But the numbers for our book at number 12 is the FOC next week, and number 11 numbers were great. And so, like, we're doing better now than a lot of books do, even on their first issue.
Nice.
So,
All right.
I can't tell you if it was like I haven't done the math on what came in versus what we put out, but it didn't cost us anything to do it. Like I sold stuff all along the way, and we had sold like exclusives and T-shirts and stuff ahead of time. So it was basically just the time invested, and it was exhausting. And we did have to. There's like 2 issues of Feral and my first issue of the Thing that we had to do from the road in some pretty dodgy motels. But yeah, it was something. I was on the road for like 2 months, 7 weeks.
So there you
That
go.
is crazy.
It would have only
2
been 6 months instead of 8.
I know I can't account for the other 6 months. Those
okay.
2 I was on the road.
You're busy, and you spoke of a Feral trade. You know where our listeners can get that trade?
Oh,
Where can
They can get it at cheapgraphicnovels.com.
Europe?
cheapgraphicnovels.com. You say you love the omnibus editions and the trade paperbacks and the OGNs and the manga and the art books. There's only one place to get them, cheapgraphicnovels.com. Everything is discounted. And get this, if you're a first-time customer, here's what you want to do. You want to place an order, modest, 1 or 2 books. You will receive an email confirmation saying, thank you for ordering from cheapgraphicnovels.com. You reply to that email confirmation saying, my buddies at 11 o'clock comics clued me into this place. Wow, I love it. I'm here for the duration. And Max is going to lick the suppository of savings and gently place it up your butt because you are going to get free shipping on your next order. That's insane. And that's when you order massive amounts of books. Right? Tony knows how to do it. And not only that.
Place the person.
Yeah.
You're
And then-
thinking about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Then go nuts.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Not only that, they have a 90% and more spring sale going on right now. Whole bunch of stuff in there. You could take home a lot of things. And if that wasn't enough, all that stuff wasn't enough, they also have specials.
They got specials every week.
Specials.
Like DC Finest Peacemaker, Kill for Peace trade paperback, $23.99. Discover the comics origin of the character from the hit show on Max in his very own DC Finest volume, collecting Peacemaker's never before reprinted comics debut from the Fightin' Five, numbers 40 and 41, the 5-issue miniseries from 1967, Peacemaker numbers 1 through 4, and his cameos from the pages of Checkmate, Suicide Squad, Vigilante, and Eclipso. Defenders Epic Collection World Gone Sane trade paperback, $26.99. Marvel has never had a bigger team of misfits than the Defenders, and the Defenders never had a more exciting and innovative writer than Steve Gerber. Known as a non-team book, the Defenders left room for experimentation and that other titles lacked. From the Elf with a Gun to Bambi and the Bozos, Steve Gerber used that space to push boundaries and craft a challenging critique of the era's culture. Collects the Defenders, numbers 26 through 41, Giant Size number 5, and Annual number 1, and Marvel Team Up Treasury Edition number 12. Rick and Morty vs. Cthulhu Deluxe Edition hardcovers 26-24. When their home is infested by the Eldritch Terror, Rick Sanchez and the Smith family traverse a Lovecraftian hellscape to track down and defeat the big guy himself, Cthulhu. Collects issues 1 through 4 of Rick and Morty vs. Cthulhu by Jim Zub and Troy Little. And finally, Minor Threats from the World of Minor Threats, Barfly trade paperback, $13.99. Comic book legends Kyle Starks and Ryan Brown present the heartwarming, feel-good, coming-of-age story about an insect monster man searching for his identity amongst the criminal underworld of Twilight City. Collects issues numbers 1 through 4.
I'm just saying, if you don't want to spend the money on that Rick and Morty versus Cthulhu hardcover, in this previews, there is a anthology, a collection of Rick and Morty comics, almost 300 pages. I'm assuming that it's going to be manga-sized for $10. And in there, Rick and Morty versus Cthulhu is one of the books that they include.
And it's in color?
It's all over the place, though. It's like Rick and Morty 41, 42, Rick and Morty number 13,
Wow.
the Pickle Rick special,
I haven't checked previews yet. Okay.
there's a bunch of stuff in it, but it's scattershot. But you're only paying $10 for like 300 pages.
For real.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Hey.
That's sweet.
Thank you. CheapGraphicNovels.com.
Boom.
You're
Yes.
hurt.
I'm drinking because today, why wouldn't you? And
Sure.
I there's a theme to what I'm bringing to the table this week. I actually canceled classes today because I was not in a great place, and I worked myself out of it by ingesting, entertainment wise and now beverage wise, nothing but the cream, the good stuff, the stuff that gives me comfort, surefire entertainment, surefire taste. Sam Adams, it's the best lager like ever. And when I talk about the comics I read, you'll see why. Nothing but the best this week.
There you go.
Okay.
I demanded.
I'm listening.
I am too.
What the hell was that?
Sounded like some kind of a Siri.
Yeah, or
Somebody
like an Alexa
says
or something.
something serious. Did you say seriously or something?
Siri.
Anyway, Stu,
Oh, maybe I did.
how do I shut that foolish woman off?
Just
What are you
don't,
drinking,
just don't
Jason?
use it.
Put on
I am.
mute.
What is going on? I am drinking the best of the best Poland spring water.
That is good water.
It is good water.
Damn good water, bruh. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah. Can you really tell the difference between bottles of water, like from different manufacturers?
Yes.
No, but I can
Yes,
tell the
yes,
difference between the bottled water and my tap water.
Oh, for
sure.
real? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell the difference between like purified and Poland Spring or something that's got, increased with the pH balance and shit like that. There are similar, there are small differences that if you drink enough of it, you can pick up.
Well,
Well, you tell me.
I know. I guess the guy on the cruise was right when he gave me the mezcal and the tequila, and I couldn't tell the difference. He's like, "Damn, your palate's broken." So I guess my palate is
He's
broken.
not wrong. He's definitely not wrong that your palate is broken, my man.
Whatever.
I love you, but
I had my own tasting menu today. I was laughing and thinking of Jason. I had a hot pocket. No, I had a fucking hot pocket, a lean cuisine, and one of them fucking Sorrento cheese and nut collections. I'm like, I have a little tasting thing going on.
Look at your little charcuterie board.
My goodness.
Saw somebody on TikTok today put Totina pizza rolls on a Caesar salad like croutons.
Nice.
Look, real trash.
Is your algo just full of like awful foods that you shouldn't actually eat? Is that like what the algo
right.
is?
That's what happens when you cross the country in a car, I guess.
Right? Shit.
Jesus.
Seriously.
Yeah. I'm
What's the name
having
of that?
Tony?
Yeah.
I'm having Evan Williams single barrel Kentucky whiskey 2016, some sort of vintage. I don't know. I actually got it in New Jersey when I was driving across the country from my buddy Helper Bill.
Wait. Time out.
Here we go.
Wait.
You know I was in New Jersey. But you
didn't
told
know
me
you were
you wouldn't even come to that
Yes.
place for pizza, let alone to see me.
Yep.
Oh, did
You're
I say
very
that?
antsy the whole
Yeah.
tour.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
it was election day. That would have been just a nightmare.
There you go. Okay. You're forgiven then.
Once again,
Yeah.
people
Could've
playing
come
at home.
You could have come to Statelywood Manor though and hung out. You could have finally
I
seen the
would've
crib
loved
room.
I can't wait. One of these days I will.
All right.
Maybe we'll do. I got a New York Comic Con possibly this year, so maybe.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Working on.
Oh, we can stay in your suite one night. That's going to be great.
Yes.
It's true.
I think, Tony, that is going to be the convention that we're all together because I'm not going to Heroes.
Really?
You're going to be at
Oh,
Baltimore
what happened?
though.
Yes, at
Yeah,
Baltimore.
we'll be at Baltimore.
What do you mean what happened? Oh, you don't know.
Well, he knows. He
No.
listens.
Does
Wait, you
he?
don't listen anymore?
Does he, though?
I listen. I listen. I missed a few episodes here and there, though. I definitely have heard the few.
My daughter am pregnant.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, and she's due right around Heroes. So
Oh,
I hedged my bets, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to have to fly back on a dime when she goes into labor.
That
So,
sucks, though, because then that baby's birthday is going to be around Heroes too.
oh,
That was
that's
to try and squeeze
see-
out early.
that's right. I
if
wasn't
she can do it
thinking
with
about
girls.
that. We'll get some duct tape, put it on her thing, and so the baby stays in there.
Tell her to hold a nickel in her knees.
Yeah. I'm glad she didn't do that when the hubby wanted some. And I told him, I said, Joey, after the baby comes out, give her a day to recover, and then go right back in because I want more grandkids. Yeah, that's what I said.
What the fuck's the matter with you, bro?
What do you mean? I want more grandkids.
You're like farming your daughter out as like a procreation.
She's married. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Let her live, though. Let her recover. The body needs time to
a day,
to readjust. To get tighten back up.
True. Right, so let's talk about some comics here. Oh,
that's quite a segue. It's quite a segue.
Yeah, comics are life, and let's talk about.
Well, let's listen. We haven't had our boy on in a minute. Let's start with one of his books.
Go ahead.
And I guess and Tony said very nonchalantly that he's got a hit book. I presume because you said also number 12, you're talking about Feral. So yes. Now we can talk about Feral as well, but I want to talk about Uncanny Valley. Because the fact that you didn't call it a hit means I'm guessing it's not as much of a hit, which we can speak to in a minute. But like in anticipation of you coming, read I read 5, 6, 7, and 8. Caught up on it, and for those that don't know, that is a book that Tony writes, and our other good friend of the show, Mr. Dave Wachter, is the artist. And it's so much fun, man. It's so much fun. Like for those that are unfamiliar, well, we've got the writer here, so maybe he should. Well, I'll just. The premise is a boy realizes early on that he is not normal because he is part cartoon. And in this world, cartoons are sentient creatures. They kind of live in parallel with us. Most humans don't know they're talking to living cartoons. They see them in more normative ways, especially as you get older. As you become an adult, you can't see them anymore. But he can, and it's because he is descended from the Pecos Pete, who I introduced myself as like is a character, and basically his grandfather, who's Pecos Pete, who's like Yosemite Sam, effectively, and he go on this grand adventure because he is the chosen one of some sort, and then we've got this big ne'er-do-well who's looks a little bit like a male version of Cruella, like big old gigantic, like draping like sorceress robes and stuff, but Mr. Smart, because it's public IP now, it's fucking Mickey Mouse is the fucking villain, the master villain, which I thought was genius. So it's just a blast, man. You guys have a lot of fun throwing these characters in. Wachter does such a great job with the, again, like making the cartoons feel like cartoons, but in a living world, which is hard because it's all the drawing that we're looking at. I just think it's a blast, dude. And I was because I know you had told us months and months ago that, it was a bit of a push-pull with the publisher, and all that, and like, I finished issue 8 and clearly hadn't been wrapped up yet. And I was like, wait a minute, this is the end, right? Because I thought you had said, I wasn't sure if you said it was going to go to 8 or 10. So and then I checked the solicits and 9's already been solicited. Are we getting 10 or is 9 it, or what are we doing with this?
It's 10 issues. The last issue, 10, Dave's drawing right now. And yeah, it was a bit of a push-pull, but I don't actually, the may be successful. I don't know. It's weird. Like, Image tells me full numbers and stuff, and Boom just has a different situation. They just handle all that stuff, and then they'll send me royalties or something.
So you have honestly no idea. Like, you don't know how it's selling. You don't.
I know that the trade has almost beat their their first year goals on initials, so that's good. But it also means that they didn't believe in me in the first place, But the issues, I know how the first issue did, and it did pretty good. And then from there, they're just, it's a whole different. It's definitely a weird. It's like a weird setup. Unlike Image, where every issue I know exactly what it sold and exactly how many reorders there were and all that stuff. So yeah, but yeah, it's doing well critically. It's been very well received, and the people I talk to about it really love it. So, and we love how it came out and how it's wrapping up. I fucking had meant to send you issue 9 earlier. I didn't know you were all caught up, or I would have.
Yeah, man.
But yeah,
you definitely have like some like Animal Man, like Morrison stuff going on there. The meta of like drawings within a drawing, and like the characters themselves, the toons themselves can use white primer to literally like erase the each other from existence. But then you've got, you know, the big pencil in the sky, right? Like it's definitely it's one of the things I really like about it is the juxtaposition of the visual tone and language that you're using of these like childlike characters, and like, you know, the silly like Looney Tunes, like, you know, like fall to your death in a canyon type of a thing, but, you know, not die. Like these classic childlike visuals, but then I think there's a lot of complexity to the story beyond that. So it's a nice juxtaposition. So I think that's a job well done.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the idea was basically like when I came up with the idea for it, and the idea about this kid and this sort of like chosen one coming of age type story. I felt like that's cool, but it needed to have more meat on the bones. And the stuff that I really got excited about writing was all the relationship stuff, right? Like it's about this girl and her father and their relationship, and it's about this kid meeting his grandfather for the first time and their relationship and what that means about him and his mother's relationship. And so it's been really fun to sort of take these goofy characters and imbue them with all this sort of like very, not heavy, but just like real. I mean, sometimes it's heavy. It's like, you know, real world emotional stuff. And I feel like that's what people respond to a lot. Issue 9 has some real good moments of that, but issue 8 I feel like was where we really got into like the meat of this woman and why her and her father don't get along, and sort of like what's been in between them, and how are they going to be able to surmount that to save Oliver in the end, you know, or to try and be there for Oliver. So yeah, it's I really love it, and Dave has I think it's the best looking thing he's ever done. But it's just so different from what he normally does that feels sort of like I normally love what he does, but he's just sort of stretching and trying so many new things here that it's like exciting for me.
I agree. It's real fun to see him get a chance to do different visual styles because the book necessitates it, right? Like obviously the toons are supposed to look different and 2D and flat, and it's fun seeing him stretch those muscles, because to your point, I've always enjoyed Dave's work, but I don't know that I've ever remembered a book that asked him to draw this way. So I think it's a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, and he didn't know he could do it when we started.
Dave. Our Dave.
He was like, "Of course I can do that," and then later I like texted him. I was like, "Man, it's so crazy that you can draw like this. I had no idea." And he was like, "Oh yeah, me either. I'm just making it up as I go."
That's totally Dave, isn't it? I didn't know. I could do it.
For sure.
But so like you're using Mickey? Is it anything like Eric's Mickey, where he's just hungry for the Padusi all the time? And oh, he's not a rapist.
No. Yeah. No. I've been coming up with this. I've been like putting notes aside for the story for like 10 years.
Wow.
And so it's just something that's been in my notebooks, and I have like a little document that I'll open up when I had ideas about it. And this character, the first, who's the villain of the piece, it was always supposed to be, it starts out like a Maleficent style creature, and then as the story goes on, we sort of reveal like what their place was in the world. In issue 6 of Uncanny Valley is like this sort of big meta history of the cartoon world, and then also the history of Oliver's family. And the plan was always like, we get to that issue, and then we'll reveal that like this big villain was like a Steamboat Willie type character. Like that was always the plan. And then when we were putting the book together, like it's not like I track the public domain or when things are coming up, but it just so happened that when we were putting the book together, that was when Mickey Mouse was going into the public domain. And I think even when the book started coming out, he wasn't yet, but we knew that by the time that issue came out that he would be. And so me and the editors just sort of went back and forth and were like, does this work? And they talked to the lawyers, and they were like, yeah, it says you can do whatever you want. You can make him a rapist if you want to. You can.
Nice. So synchronicity, the universe was smiling upon you.
Yeah, it was very cool. What's funny is there's a Dan Mora cover for the first issue that has the original design of that character, where it wasn't a mouse yet, it was a tiger. And so, even as far as like when we were drawing covers for the first issue, we were still things were still sort of shifting around with that. So
awesome!
It's a little interesting Easter egg.
Yeah.
Valley.
I need more people to read this if they're not. Cause I'm glad to hear it because I wasn't sure like how it was doing because I don't pay attention to the sales numbers anymore, so I have no idea. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how to. I wish I did.
It's true.
So you're saying there's much more transparency at Image than there is at Boom.
Well, yeah, just by way of that's how you
so they do
at
things.
Image.
Yeah, got it.
Boom, they pay me up front, and they pay Dave up front, and then we'll make money on the back end, but after everything's paid off and everything. So they're, And
then do you have to share ownership with them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's they buy in for that basically. Like they pay us to do it, and then they own a piece of it going forward.
Gotcha. But would you be able to negotiate for it, or like how does that work? Like, do you still have like controlling interests, so that you can do something with it if there's the opportunity, or do they have to be involved?
Yeah, if somebody shows up and says like we wanted, we'd like to make this movie. Like I have the guy's phone number at Boom who is in charge of that. I know him. I can go talk to him. But
I got you.
I think they are in charge of the media side, or at least they're pretty involved in it. Obviously more so than Image, who is not at all involved in it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I can't figure out either. I don't know if Kirkman wants to be a billionaire or what, but my social media apps are deluge with ads about Skybound and investing in it. I'm like, bro, like I'm good. I don't need to give this guy money. He's already made like $500 million. I'm good. I don't need to give him money. I'm good. But,
what is that? I mean, it's not. They didn't take the company public, right?
No. It's private. It's like private funding. Like basically, they're selling. It's like on the private markets. It's without getting boring. Everyone, the laws changed a few years ago that kind of allow for this now to be done if it's done in a certain way. Basically, where people can invest in a private company with the idea that they get what they get in return would be obviously they own a piece of it. So if it does ever come public, or if they pay a dividend, but honestly, it's a tricky thing. I'm not a fan generally of these. Yeah. Most of the companies that market to individual consumers for privates are, in my opinion, generally a little fugazi. Like, and they're trying to sort of like take advantage of people. I don't think Skybound's doing that. Like, I think they're obviously a very legit company, but man, they're pressing hard for that money. They really want people to give them the monies. Yeah.
I can't wait for Battle Beast.
We just finished watching the last episode of the Invincible season last night. Actually, it's great.
Yeah, my students love it. They're like, "Oh,
it's really great, man!"
Yeah.
It's just crazy violent. It's just off the charts violent.
Well, so's the book, but
no, but I'm saying it's true to the book in terms of that level of violence. It's great.
But I guess it's not. It doesn't adhere to the structure of the series, the comic series. Because I said something like, "Oh, are Mark and Eve a thing yet?" And the girl's just like, "What?" I was like, "Wait a minute! It's 2 seasons and Mark and Eve aren't a thing." Like,
they're together. Yeah, they're together. She must be way behind. They're together.
Maybe, I don't know, but
Mark and Eve are together for most of the second season. Spoilers, I guess, if people haven't watched it yet. But,
okay,
yeah.
Well, that as it should be.
Yeah.
And I said to her, "Eve get fucked up yet?" Because that's what Kirkman does. He fucks up his characters like really bad, but no. So yes, Tony, I want to talk about The Thing soon.
Yeah. Yes.
But I want to. Yes.
We'll talk about some other comics first.
Yeah, because I mentioned.
By the way, I have.
Go ahead.
Right before we jump into it, I want to just do a to be continued from last episode.
Okay.
Because I was listening. I had read Savage Dragon 276, and I was listening to you talk about it. And when I was reading it, I was like, I wonder how you would describe to somebody when this young child gets her clothes blown off in this
comic.
And hearing you describe it was you didn't do any better than I thought I could have done. It is a crazy thing that happens. I mean, it is. I wouldn't say it's tasteful, but it's not like gratuitous or anything.
No. He was very strategic in his placement of her limbs.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know. I guess that I don't know.
Like, well, if everybody gets their clothes blown off in this book, why would this person be immune to this?
Seriously,
Except that, like, for good taste reason.
And I love the sequence where Angel's in Dimension X, right? And she's getting ravaged by these fucking monsters. Yeah. And they take the time to stop beating the shit out of her, to pull her pants back. and expose her ass and her thingamajig. But then after that sequence, like her ass is not exposed anymore. So, okay. And I don't mind him doing it. Like, I think it's great that he does whatever he wants to do with the book because it is. And he has the luxury of being able to do that because he was smart enough to own it himself, you know? But yeah, like I would love for him to come back just to have a talk, like just to pick his brain. Like when did it become? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, like Savage Dragon was always like bawdy, but not.
Yeah.
Look at Maxine's thingamajig, like drippy every other.
I would love for there to be a documentary, where we interview people. We sort of like a real forensic look at what happened here. How, when did it start to go?
Like
full crazy, and what happened IRL? What's
where did the epiphany come from? You know? Yeah, I was watching a movie with Ginger Lynn, and I thought, hey, I could do that in my comic because I own it. Like, okay, I just don't know. I don't know.
Listen, he's at an age, maybe his wife's going through menopause. Spice it up a little bit more. You know,
that's cool. No, I mean, look I am for artistic expression, no matter to what extent, right? If he wants to do this, more power to him. I'm just loving every bit of it. If he decides that, you know, if he flips, you are lagging, my friend. How are you lagging?
I feel like every time you start talking, I just stop talking. Well, I'm not lagging. Okay. He just keeps reprinting it the same way they do like Usagi Yojimbo. But if I give somebody the first volume of Usagi Yojimbo and then they go to the shelf and buy the new one, they'll just be like, yep, this is that comic all right. But if you read the fucking first Savage Dragon hardcover and then you were just like, I love this, I'm going to pick it up when it comes out every month, it would be shocking.
Very.
You know, like it would be just startling what was going on. It really deserves deep introspection. I want somebody to get in there and really figure it out.
I really think he had a John Byrne moment where he took a look at his art and he's like, I'm investing too much time into this. I think I'm gonna loosen up a little bit, because if you look at the original Savage Dragon miniseries and his work on like Amazing Spider-Man, it's super tight. Yeah. And there's a lot of lines. Well, I mean,
last year he was doing Ant at the same time, or that might have been 2 years ago. So he's doing 2 books. And then I think he was sort of like, he wasn't feeling it for a little while. That's when the book was only sort of like dribbling out. And now he seems like the pipes seem to be firing in all directions, because it comes out like every 3 weeks, I think.
Yep. Do you have any contact with Eric?
Oh, Seeley knows him. The closest we got to him was we asked him to do a Local Man cover, and it was when he was not feeling like, he just wasn't feeling creative at the time. He was like, I wish I could, but I'm just not really feeling it. And then we did a Jim Valentino cover that was the Savage Dragon cover where it's like Shadowhawk and Savage Dragon, but Valentino redrew it with our characters, and we just used the same background that was on the original one, and we didn't even think about we should credit this guy or anything. We were just like, this is Valentino owns this, you know. And then he sent Celia a message, and he was like, I guess you got a cover from me after all. And we were like, whoops. I guess we probably should have been a little more transparent about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was looking for instant gratification with the good stuff. So where do you go if you want to read the good stuff with comics? You go to the best comics ever made, which, in my opinion, are EC Comics. I don't think. Someone would agree with me that they are some of the best comics ever made. Maybe not the best, but I do think that they are the best comics ever made. So I got a box from Max containing the Weird Science, the complete Weird Science, which is the EC Archives 4 volumes, right? And not the hardcovers, the trade paperback ones, which are of really good quality and only $20 a pop. So after discount, you're paying like 12 something for them, which is crazy cheap, right? So I've read EC Archives Weird Science Volume 1. And there's a little bit of a numbering snafu with Weird Science. The run begins with issue 12. Why? Because they picked up the numbering from Saddle Romances number 11. But it renumbers again after issue 15, and the next one in the run becomes Weird Science number 5. Yes, to reflect the actual number of issues of bearing the Weird Science name. So it picks up issue 12, so you have issue 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then after issue 15, Weird Science becomes number 5. So the actual first issue of Weird Science is number 12, which is later followed by a number less than that. Yeah, whatever. I mean, that was the name of the game of publishing back then. When a book failed, you just picked up the renumbering from that book and just started with a different name. But whatever. So I'm not going to go through all of the stories in this volume because it's an anthology and there are many amazing talents in here. Roy Krenkel, Harvey Kurtzman, Wally Wood. But the editor and main story writer of Weird Science was Al Feldstein, the great Al Feldstein. And I want to focus on a story written and drawn by Al called Destruction of the Earth. Now remember, this issue came out in 1950, right? You still had the atomic scare bullshit in 1950 where it was like, okay, get under your desk, grab your head, pray for the best, right? In this story, you have a Professor Frederick Holman who goes to the Secretary of Defense because he heard that the United States was planning on doing a hydrogen bomb test. And Professor Holman's like, this is not going to be good. You cannot detonate this hydrogen bomb. And the Secretary of Defense, who, to Al Feldstein's credit, is the same Secretary of Defense that appears in previous issues. Like, there's maybe 2 issues before this that somebody wants to talk to the Secretary of Defense, and it's the same guy, which I think is kind of amazing, right? That he would remember his design, not only two or whatever issues previously, but then to keep the same dude as the Secretary of Defense. Needless to say, after this story, he won't be the Secretary of Defense because Professor Holman's like, here's the deal. You set off this hydrogen bomb, and this is what's going to happen. Remember when you were a kid and you threw a rock into a pond? What happened? And the Secretary of Defense says, well, you get ripples. And Professor's like, exactly. This bomb is going to set off a ripple effect throughout the ocean, which is going to inundate all of the land. You're going to have massive tidal waves, which is going to just blow right over the Bikini Atoll. It's going to inundate Hawaii. It's not going to stop there. You think it's going to stop at the coastal cities? Not going to happen. It's just going to wash over everything. The Pacific and the Atlantic are going to meet. They're going to be buddies. But if that wasn't enough, Professor Holman says, I'm sure you fired a gun. And the Secretary of Defense is like, well, yeah. He's like, what happens when you fire a gun? You get recoil. Yeah. Well, if you detonate this hydrogen bomb, it's going to be minimal, but the force of the blast is going to be enough to knock Earth slightly out of its orbit. And you know what's going to happen? The orbit's going to change and the Earth is going to plummet into the sun. And they're just like, okay. The Secretary of Defense has a professor with him just to check to see if Holman's work is on the up and up. And he's writing shit down and he's showing them detailed drawings and the Professor Williams is like winking at the Secretary of Defense like, yeah, let's humor this guy for a little while. And then when he leaves, fuck him, he's gone. And that's what they do. They're like, oh, thank you, Professor Holman, and he's like, you can't detonate this bomb. They're like, yeah, okay, see you later. And they both express the same sadness that this professor was once a valued member of the scientific community. Now he's a nut job. Okay, so guess what happens? They detonate the bomb the next day, and exactly what Professor Holman says was going to happen happens in graphic detail. Like, again, 1950, you see the bomb blow up. and the waves start, and all these people are inundated. Like there's a girl in a grass skirt and a guy sitting under a palm tree. And this massive wave comes through, but it doesn't stop there. It goes right across the coastal cities, and people rise as the water rises, they rise with the water, the survivors, that is, and they're on the top of mountains, but they're not safe because now the earth is careening towards the sun and it's getting hotter, and all of the water starts evaporating, and all the people burn up, and the earth smacks right into the sun and is destroyed. But the cool thing about this story is the narrator, in the beginning, you don't know who it is. You're like, okay, you're thinking maybe it's the professor because like he's the focus of this thing. Maybe he's the dude that's narrating the story, but it's not. It's a science teacher on Mars. It's an alien. It's a Martian science teacher teaching his kids, and they all look like, remember that Obi doll when you squeezed it, the eyes would pop out and the ears would pop out. Like you've seen the Obi doll, right? So they're aliens, and the teacher's like, yes. That is why you will no longer find Earth on your galactic maps, because this happened and they're no longer there. And okay, class dismissed. See you later. So all of human history has now been eliminated because the Secretary of Defense would not listen to Professor Holman. And I can imagine, I'm just saying, if I was like a 10-year-old kid and I read this in 1950, I would be scared shitless.
No doubt.
Because we did formulate a hydrogen bomb, right? And we did test it. So, I mean, you don't know. But one of the things that this, I read these EC stories over and over and over. I go back all the time and read them because they're the best of the best. But one of the things that revisiting this volume taught me was I think I've been a little hard on Oni Press. Because those new books, well, not new, they've published about 20 issues to date of epitaphs from the Abyss, Cruel Universe. There's a spin-off book called Cruel Kingdom. There's been a one-shot Shiver suspense stories. I've been a little rough on them because I hold EC in very high esteem, and I thought, fuck these clowns. These books are never going to measure up. Some of the lion's share of the stories are not embarrassingly bad in relation to the original stories. Like Dustin Weaver does these single page illustrations in the Epitaphs book, and they're just amazing. They're impeccable. I think Weaver is like the MVP of that title. But then you got David Lapham, who's doing some of the best work of his career. On the art side, you got Kano, Riley Rossmo, Leo Max is a monster. Like, that guy's extremely good. Charlie Adlard did a couple stories. David Rubin did one, which was really good. Daniel Irizarry, Christopher Minton showed up. Tyler Crook was there. Like, the art's not all that bad until it is. Right? For whatever reason, they decide Andrea Sorrentino is good enough to be in this magazine, and Andrea Sorrentino is not good enough to illustrate a wanted ad in the back of the local newspaper. So I don't know.
Pure blasphemy. Absolute blasphemy.
Dude, he's horrible. He's absolutely horrible.
It's fucking crazy. Dude.
His work is like ridiculously photoreferenced. It's stupid Photoshop filtered. Like, his work is just plain flat out bad. Why this guy keeps getting jobs is way beyond me. But then,
we're not have Jeff on anytime soon.
No, I'm just saying. But Andrea Muti has work in here. Not that good. Not that good. But I will say, I'm sorry, Oni, for misjudging your books, because the good far outweighs the bad in these books. Are they worth buying? I would say yes.
I mean, there you go. It sounds to me like all the art's great, because I myself enjoy me some Sorrentino. So
it really hurts my heart that you find value in his work. I'm not.
Wow.
I'm not.
That is just so baffling to me.
I'm not so being crazy. That guy. But his work. If I had a student that brought something to class that looked like Sorrentino's work, I'd be like, try harder next time. This Photoshop bullshit is not going to cut it. I'm just saying.
I'm just glad I made friends with you guys before I did my Photoshop bullshit comic, so I could get away with it. That's what's
No, Local Man wasn't that photo-refy.
Yes.
I mean, it was, but you couldn't tell. That's because you're a professional.
Those were the 10 pages.
No, I know Tony used a lot of photo ref in that book, but he made the reference his own.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep shitting on Sorrentino. I just don't like his work. I find zero value in his work.
The other side, because I think Jason agrees too. I think he, as a designer, does such cool shit, and also he must know all beautiful people because they always just look so stylish and beautiful. So either he's just good at taking the reference and turning it beautiful, or he just only knows handsome and beautiful people.
I don't think there's a whole lot of inking going on. I think he's adjusting levels in Photoshop, and he's using the frickin' stamp filter. Don't
you think too, though, that's a little bit too much knowing how the sausage is made? Like if you were just looking at it from
100%. Yes. If I didn't have 30 years of experience with Photoshop, I would look at his work and say, too chiaroscuro for me. It's too stark white, too stark black. But I mean, it's okay. But I know how it's made, and it's just. It's easy, it's fast, and it doesn't inspire me to do anything other than continue to the next story. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you're obviously entitled to your opinion. I mean, I thought Gideon Falls was fantastic. I thought Primordial was fantastic. So yeah, I mean, just see it differently.
You do? Yeah. Whatever. So EC Comics, go read them. I have my own little Dark Horse-O-Rama this week.
Ooh.
Yes. But let's talk about
the comps must have arrived.
No, I actually buy my books. So.
Oh. I heard you talking about those ECs showing up in the previous episodes.
They're here.
It always breaks my heart when you tell the story of selling all those Russ Cochrans.
Oh, I'm such an asshole. I am.
It's a perfect way to read those comics.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, those books.
Let's add insult to injury. I had all of the Another Rainbow, Carl Barks library. All of it. And I sold those as well. I got
one of those.
You're so fickle, dude.
So fickle. No, the word's not fickle. The word is stupid. That's the only word I can come up with because it's the same recipe. Whenever I sell comics, the same thing happens. One, I don't need the money. Why am I selling these things? I wasn't broke. No. No, I was just looking at all these books taking up so much space, thinking, what the fuck am I going to do with these? Why do I want to keep these around? I could have so much more shelf space to fill with book, and these massive collections are just, and again, the word is stupid. I can't think of a better word. And I remember the things I went through to get those collections, like. The Another Rainbow Barks books, I was getting them as they were coming out. But the EC ones, I had to do a lot of footwork to get those collections. Like Forbidden Planet in New York City. I got one in a comic shop in Jersey. And then there was another one I bought in Vegas while I was out there. Like it was not easy. And then I sold them like a asshole.
You have the Al Williamson Star Wars one?
The Al Williamson Star Wars one.
You don't know about that one?
I don't have that, no.
Oh, man, it's pretty.
I can imagine.
It's the same kind of box set, but it's just those Al Williamson newspaper strips in beautiful, crisp, big black and white.
You have that?
I got it. Yeah, I got it at the same time. COVID was a wonderful time. I was selling comics like crazy. I was working in animation. I was getting a check every week. Man, oh man, if we could go back.
Well, I told you the story about the Al Williamson Star Wars, right? I used to cut those out of the newspaper every day and paste them in a specially made, I call it a book. It was just a stack of paper with those clips that have two tabs on them, and you spread them each way on the opposite side. Yeah, I would wait every day to get that Star Wars, cut it out, paste it in. Yeah. I love that strip.
Do you still have it?
I have some of them. Yeah. At this point, the glue that I used had browned, and it ate through a lot of the newspaper, and so all of the strips are just like Stu Brown. So I do have some of them, but they're nothing to look at. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get that Russ Cochran.
Yeah.
I mean, they've also reprinted many other different ways, but I haven't seen one that's better than the Russ.
Cochran's a
Truly,
beast. Yeah. So much care and attention.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So let's talk still more about comics. That's what they came here for. What else do we have?
Yeah.
Haven't heard Dap say much at all yet. We got to let our man pontificate.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Right? What the hell? I'm drinking Michter's, by the way. I was a fashion school serial killer because I love
Hey, me too.
of Wagner and Hillyard, our favorite duo that brought us plastic and vinyl and plush, have returned, and this I adored this first issue. We're introduced to Rennie Bethery, who is enrolled in the what the hell was it? It was the New York
Institute
School of Fashion, and I completely I just had it on my screen too, and I completely lost it. So she's enrolled in school, and she is she gets the attention. She catches the eye of a fellow student, whose name is Sophie, and she's impressed with Rennie's jacket. And as soon as she sees it, she's, oh, is this a blind hem? And she's grabbing the collar. And Rennie doesn't really like people invading personal spaces. She's got boundary issues. But while they're having a conversation, the mean girls show up. And they're not... They boss Sophie around because Sophie has a side gig where she's basically like a door dasher. And so they're mocking her because, they don't want the working class, I guess, invading this class. The instructor is, I like the professor of the class for now. I don't know if that's going to change, but she has a handle on the classroom. We see Rennie having lunch, and again, Sophie showing up and sitting next to her, even though they both want to eat alone. And then Sophie brings more people over to the table. Eventually, Rennie leaves, but she is also feeling some kind of way about Constance, because Constance is, of course, always mocking and bullying Sophie. Rennie also has she's always scratching at herself, whether it's her neck, her arm, and it's because of it's a behavioral issue, and it's because of when people do, and when she notices people invading or just not adhering to boundaries. But she is also the title character. She is the serial killer, and we do see her in action, and she's got a plan. And I'm not going to divulge too much about this first issue, but I keep going back to the instructor. The professor is the outfits she wears, and the so aside from, of course, Wagner and Hillyard, Michelle Madsen is on colors, and the dresses, the outfits that the professor wears are stunning. They're mostly always floral patterns, but they'll have some blue on them. Some on one day, the next day it's mostly like red with some roses and some splashes of orange. The coloring is just is amazing. But yeah, I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. The first issues from these guys are always get you ready for what's to come. And yeah, this is no exception. The art is still amazing. The writing, the characters, everybody feels unique, and of course you're already rooting for the main character, but of course they're not necessarily a good person, unless they're doing bad things to bad people for good reasons that I can kind of get behind that. But this was just this is a gorgeous looking book, and it's still kind of similar. Obviously, if you enjoyed plastic, either series or plush or vinyl or any other of the stories that this creative team brought us, then you will. This is pretty much more of that. You've got. I can't wait for the next issue. I almost if I work's been in bear this week, so I didn't get a chance to read everything I wanted to. But had I had the opportunity, I would have reread this as soon as I finished it. I really, really liked it a lot. You read it?
I just read it today. Yeah, I read it today. It is a great first issue. And you were right, that instructor, that's a spicy meatball. That's a pretty lady.
Right?
The coloring on the dresses is great. I wonder if that's Daniel or if that's Michelle, like which one of them is popping those textures in there, but it really looks great. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I hope nothing happens to that teacher, no matter what. Like she better survive at least until the last. Yeah.
I mean, she might look interesting flayed, but I don't. Yeah, I'm good with her intact.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. My only question though is like, can Doug tell a comic story that's not about a serial killer, or are we gonna?
It's okay.
And we all have our, we work to our strengths, bro.
Yeah, it's a little super niche though, right? Like I could see being into horror, but literally he's given us 4 comics that are all serial killers. Like I hope my guy has a good psychiatrist. Like I hope he's a balanced because he's trying to work through some things.
He seems almost too balanced. I know him personally, and he does just seem like a regular guy. And he lives in Utah, and I'm like, if he's killing, if somebody was like, we found bodies, I'd be like, yep, fair enough. Yep,
I know who did it. He definitely could come up as prime suspect. Vincent and I chatted him up a little bit at Emerald City.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Back in the day.
Yeah. I think there's a reason why she's scratching beyond the boundaries thing. I think there's something going on with her skin. I think there's. I mean, that's what I picked up from the last page.
Like dermatitis, or like something more insidious?
The killing is more to procure something rather than to kill.
Okay.
Oh, like she's like
skin.
Maybe the real passion is for skin. Yeah.
Yeah, something along those lines. Again, I mean, once again, it's ambiguous. You can't really tell by one page, so it could go anywhere. But I think maybe her skin is not necessarily.
It does say soothe the skin, so you could be right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Puts the lotion in the basket.
Good looking book. Yes, it is.
Yeah. They always do.
I'm glad I read that. I don't think I've ever been on here when we all 4 read something.
Timely.
Right. Well, I have an Image-O-Rama based on this.
I thought you had a Dark Horse-O-Rama.
I do. I have a Dark Horse-O-Rama, and now I have an Image-O-Rama. I won't spend much time on this because the first issue just came out, and I was a fashion school serial killer. This book is very ambiguous. It is written by Tyler Boss with art by Adriano. Oh. Yes. Adriano.
Me too. Let's go.
Turtulici. It is called You'll Do Bad Things, #1.
I read it too.
I know you did.
Jason?
Jason didn't read it.
I read it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Nice.
Look, it is.
Well, I mean, the narrative centers on a writer. His name is Seth Holmes, and he had made his mark with a true crime book called "He Came In with a Smile," which is a telling of a serial killer who murdered 13 children. Okay, the only problem is that Seth wants to move away from his true crime past. He doesn't want to deal in that shit anymore. He wants to write something different, something upbeat, something not murdery, and he's having a hard time because everything he starts, every time he sets fingers to keyboard and he starts to write, it starts well, but then it goes south very quickly and degenerates into the murderous, blood-soaked stuff that for which he's known. And the story's kind of cool because you get the clickety-clack and the caption boxes that look like he's actually typing these stories. So there are two stories. The first is a young lady and a man, and the man doesn't seem too attractive to the young lady, and so long story short, the dude pulls out a picture from his dashboard of himself and a young child, and there's a serial killer in the back seat that just stabs the fuck out of him. In graphic form, and the blood splashes on the picture. But then there's another sequence in which a bar owner, it's the anniversary of his daughter's death, and she was 11 when she died. And there is indications that the guy may be gay, and he has this flirtatious relationship with a patron, and the patron waits for him to close up the bar, thinking, hey, maybe we can go back and have some lovey-dovey, but the guy gets killed by the same zippered mouth slasher killer and is dismembered and put in a looks like a refrigerator or some kind of geometric thing. But the deal is, so the ambiguity comes from the fact that is Seth writing these stories and then discarding them because they go south and killing, or is he writing these stories and the events are manifesting in the real world? You don't know.
I think the latter.
But the thing that I picked up on, both of the stories involved children. Like the guy in the car that kind of rebuked the girl looks at this photo, this Polaroid of himself and a young child, and he's murdered. And the bar tender is lamenting the fact that his daughter died, and he's murdered. I think both of these gentlemen did something that played into the deaths of these children, and the serial killer is avenging the children. So it's the flip side of his original book. He came in with a smile. What was that?
We got the writer. The writer knows that child too from the he's on the train with. You know, like there's a real life child.
His nephew. Yeah. So there's a question of, is this stuff manifesting in the real world? And is this killer undoing what the killer in He Came With a Smile did? Is he avenging the deaths of these children? So I think this book is really cool. Like, cause you don't know. At the end of this issue, it's still up in the air. Like, who knows what's going on? I loved it. I think Turtulici's art is gorgeous. Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah. What'd you think, Tony?
Yeah, art's really beautiful. I agree that I don't know if it's happening in the real world. It's happening in the book in the first issue, which is definitely a bold choice. I will read the next one because I'm curious about it. I know, like, in promoting it, they've said that, like, the things he's writing are, like, that's the question they're asking. Like, are these happening in the real world? But I wish it would have like leaned a little more into that question in the actual text of the book. You know, like I wish when I closed the book, I would have been thinking, are these real or are they just happening in the book? A little more than, because it seems like at one point, like he stops writing and he's going to come back to it the next day, and then the murder continues on and happens, right? But it's like, did that happen while he was asleep? Did he stop writing and then the murder went on in real life? It is a little bit vague to me, which, you know, like it's a mystery. It's like they're doing like a lot of giallo tropes.
Oh yeah.
And so like I'm okay going along for the ride, but I do wonder how buttoned up it all is going to be, you know, when we get to the end of it. It's beautiful looking. I'll come back no matter what just to see this guy draw more murders.
Like, what's up with the dude in the car? Like, why would you not hop on that train? Like, she's gorgeous. And he's just like, no, I'm going to stare wistfully at this photo of me and a kid. What?
I mean, even at the start, she's like, I had a nice night, Jimmy. He's like, yeah, that's nice. It's like, what?
What, are you stupid? I mean, you got filet mignon right in front of you, and you're not cutting into it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I was confused about that part of the story.
There's obviously maybe he molested that kid and killed him. Like, who knows?
Or it's like him as a child. Maybe he has trauma. Anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, that picture is why he's not he's not going after that lady. Something's going on there.
Sure.
He's got some sort of one way or the other. He's the bad guy, or he was the victim.
Yeah, I'm thinking both of these gentlemen are the bad guys, and the serial killer is righting wrongs. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But Dap, what do you think?
I don't have a theory yet on why this person is killing these people yet. I do enjoy the whole concept of is it art or reality, because my man's got a writer's block. I mean, it would suck if he ends up being the killer. I don't see that happening, but I did appreciate the scenes with Samuel, the scenes with the nephew, especially we see him doing his magic trick, and we see him on the train and with his uncle, with his mom. Is this your card? It was a fun little quiet moment, even though Sis is asking him when's the next book coming. But the heavy part that bookended that scene. And even the little touching moments like at the bar where the guy's like, "No, wait for you. I'll walk you to the train." It's like, "Oh, that's and the hands touch and whatnot." I'm like, okay, I get it. And then my man's waiting around, unfortunately, gonna wait for a while.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things that. Go ahead. No, I was just saying one of the things that got me to thinking that it's based on the children is that the killer didn't kill the dude waiting for the bartender.
Right.
But it was because it's the bartender's kid who's no longer with us. So,
right.
Yeah. No, I can definitely, because I don't. You're right. Well, yes, you could absolutely be right that he's just targeting people who, because we'll maybe see in the next issue, if although the cover of the next issue looks like a younger person with blood on his hands, and so but I'm not sure if that's the younger version of the killer, or if so it. And of course, it's under the whole Tiny Onion umbrella, so there's got to be more to it than just a straight up, hey, you're somebody who's just going around killing people. It was a great hook.
Good.
Props to boss.
Yeah.
Who's drawing these covers? It's not credited.
No, it isn't. Yeah, I'm not.
It's like
it's not Wisniewski, but okay, yeah, no, that's closer to what I was thinking of.
Is it Trad? I can't. It looks like Trad to me.
It very well could be Trad.
It could be.
The hands are weird. Yeah,
there's
it could
no
be.
way it's Trad,
the
dude.
body. Maybe he's changing up a bit.
No,
I don't.
No.
I'm sure that they have to list who did the cover somewhere in here, don't they? I mean, it's an image thing. They always do, right?
Well, the fact that they don't say anything and it just says art by, I assume Adriano.
Well, maybe it's in the back here. Yeah, no, it's not in the back. No,
I'm going to go on mute and get to the bottom of this. But
you do that.
Hilarious.
But so another thing
It's your contexted image.
I like the fact that, all right, to include a character that is a magician's assistant, that's a conscious choice. Like you just say, okay, I got a sister. The writer's sister is going to be, a magician's assistant. Like, I think it's very specific. That's not a job that many people have, right? So it was deliberate. So the fact that she's a magician's assistant means that prestidigitation, sleight of hand, like the writer is telegraphing the fact that there's a thing going on here. You should be pay attention to it, because I'm going to try and obfuscate and push in a different direction. So maybe the whole thing with the writer is bullshit. Like, who knows, right? I just thought this was a really hooky first issue, and that's what I want first issues to be. I want them to somehow instigate me to read the next one, and this one did that. And Jason's being very quiet.
No, I agree. My only pithy add-on here is that I much prefer Tyler Boss when he's writing comics.
Okay.
I've not been a fan of his art.
Every which way. I think the cover might be Tyler Boss. It says it's Tyler Boss, but it doesn't look like what's the furthest place from here either.
Didn't Tyler Boss draw that skateboard thing with Rick Remender? Who drew that?
No. That's
no.
the guy that did Tank
It's
Girl.
Brett
Parsons.
Brett Parsons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I've read by Tyler Boss on visuals.
He did 4 Kids Walk into a Bank. He did What's the Furthest Place? He works with Rosenberg all the time.
Yeah. I would have to disagree with you, Jason.
Yeah, we are on opposite. Yeah, well, you may recall that I was much less rude than you were to Sorrentino, but I was very blunt in my takedown of his art.
I really don't think I was rude to Sorrentino.
You were, dude. You said his art was trash and garbage, and you don't understand. And if one of your students came in with it, you'd fail them.
It's very true.
That's pretty rude.
I would say cut a check to Adobe because they did the bulk of the work. Just saying.
We do cut a check to Adobe every month.
Some of us more than others.
Do you? Do you? Question mark.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know about you, but I am totally into Clip Studio.
Oh, you're
yes.
off the wagon.
Yep. Well, no.
On the wagon?
I have to use. I will say, if you are going to do vector, Illustrator is the only way to go. There's really no alternative to vector. You got to use Illustrator. If you're doing publication design, you got to use InDesign. What else are you going to use? Yeah. But thankfully, there is an alternative to Photoshop, and that is Procreate and Clip Studio.
I'm using a lot of Procreate. Obviously, I like it better than any of the Adobe apps for iPad.
Right.
But I'm still Photoshop for colors and for all my day-to-day desktop shit.
I'll tell you, it's been consistent. What have I been teaching? Like 8 years? Kids, especially these days, kids treat Adobe like the clap. If you
really?
say, yeah, they do not use Adobe. They don't want to use Adobe. They don't like it. And you just mention Adobe and you hear, ugh, it's like revulsion from the kids, which I'm down with that. Right?
That subscription model is, it's how many years has that been going on now? I basically got they got me when I was young. That's my, after drawing, that's the second style of art that I know is how to use Photoshop. So
right.
I will probably always use it just because it's, second nature.
That's my problem. I can keyboard shortcut all day long in Adobe. I don't even look at the menu. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
And so it's a better workflow. It's a more prosperous way of doing it. But I'm not the one that's making the lion's share of that money. That's at the studio, right? But when I do my own stuff, I take my time, and I like Clip Studio. I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Nice.
Very good brushes. And if they don't have a brush that it works for you, you can download one for free, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have? Both of you knuckleheads read something. Right? You read the Absolute Green Lantern.
We did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hold do you have the creative team handy, Def? I don't have it handy.
Yep. It is. Al Ewing is your writer. Jahnoy, Lindsay, art, color, and cover. Lucas Gattoni on letters. So we got art and color by Lindsay. It came across a little bit more manga-esque than the preview pages, I thought. But, yeah.
This was very insulting of the art last episode. So
yes, I got preview that, so I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
No, I'm not going to talk. I'll let you guys do it, but I will say my prediction came true. I don't regarding this issue. I don't need to
aesthetics or
storyline aesthetics. I'm not gonna. I don't like swimming in Lake Mediocre. So, but go ahead.
There's like no.
It is interesting.
No guardrails tonight.
No, there's not. Sorry.
Before we dive into it, it is interesting that it seems like there's 2 different lanes for Salute books, right? Like there's the Dragata, Hayden Sherman, Martian Manhunter lane.
Yeah, Rodriguez. Yep.
Yeah, and then there's
there's the inspired lane, and then there's the Blase Lane. Yes,
the
correct.
DC comics.
There's your
Yeah,
Superman,
the
there's your Green Lantern.
and Flash is more like looks more standard. They're all good, but like it is interesting that they made a line where half of them look like one kind of different thing, and half of them look like regular. It feels like hedging to me.
What I noticed with this second phase is that you really don't see the hero as a hero until the last page. In the case of Flash, not even really there because it's just, I mean, you know he's got powers. You're just not sure what the hell's going on yet. But and as far as the passing of the torch, whatever the original legacy character may have been on the main line, they're not either going to be long for this world or they are not who they are in the mainline DC book. It was a neat little switch up with Hal, and I am, regardless of how the book looks, I am happy about who the Green Lantern is in this series, at least at the start. So I'm not mad at that. I don't know if there was, it felt a little light to me compared to Martian Manhunter, compared to the rest of the other two books in this wave. Flash, there was enough in the Flash to definitely want me to come back for the next issue because I want to see where the hell we're going with this. But this just, disjointed isn't the right word. It just, I didn't really get enough out of the first issue of Absolute Green Lantern.
Yeah, I thought it stunk. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. I have no interest in continuing with this. This felt like Absolute Superman to me, like kind of what you're saying.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
just like the twists, in as much as their twists don't feel all that inspired, and the art, while fine, I agree, had sort of a weird, like quasi manga flavor to it, and it just didn't really do anything for me. It didn't have my synapses firing, so I just. Peace and love to, I think Al Ewing's a great writer. So peace and love to, I hope it's a big success, but I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Why the sigh, Vince?
No, I completely agree with you.
We're going to all wear the t-shirt Vince was wearing.
No. Vince doesn't want to be right. I want to be proven wrong. But
I know.
Like there's just so much real estate in this book that's wasted. The one thing that really got me was the diner or whatever that is, May and Mo's, that diner explosion double page, that's totally squandered. Like I don't get anything out of that. Is that glass blowing out of the windows? I'm assuming it is, but it's just like that. It's not exciting at all. It's okay. You did it at an angle. Bonus points for you. Like, the composition is that, so yeah, it's exciting in that respect because it's not totally horizontal, but there's just, I don't know. I just think I don't want to shit on it. This book was not for me. I'm not. I know.
They can't all be for everybody.
No.
Sure.
And I'm with Tony. There does seem to be a fork in the road, which you have like the cerebral stuff, like, the Martian Manhunter and the Absolute Wonder Woman, stuff that challenges you on a level other than what's been given to you previously in traditional superhero books. And then there's the tried and true superhero books like this and Superman, like that, just kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? There's a formula that people seem to attach to that sells books. Maybe this is one of them. I don't know. But
right.
I mean, diversity variety is the spice of life. So maybe there will be an audience that clicks with half the books, like hedging their bets, like Tony said. And maybe there'll be an audience that click with the other half. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I'm not a publisher, so I can't claim to understand what they're doing here.
That's facts.
What else do we have? Jamokes. Tony, tell me about the thing.
Oh. I just sent in a draft of issue 3 today.
Wow.
Nice.
It's a Marvel Comics mini-series. It's The Thing from the Fantastic Four. It's fun because when I tell people that I'm working on the thing, the Marvel thing, the thing from Marvel, they always go, it's like who's on first every time. Like they're always just like, what is it? And I go, it's the Thing. But then I say Benjamin Grimm the Thing. And yeah, it's a miniseries. It's 5 issues. It's me and Justin Mason. Originally it was me and Leonard Kirk, but he had some health issues. We hope he's doing okay.
Yeah.
The first issue for eagle-eyed readers is Leonard Kirk layouts with Justin Mason over top, doing not finishes. He's pencil and inked everything still, but it is interesting, like as somebody who writes and draws, to look at like what somebody does for their own layouts versus like what a different artist does for layouts, and that was fascinating. So if you're just a student of comics, you may want to read The Thing. But if you just like superhero stuff, this is a real superhero beat 'em up style comic. I put a lot of heart into everything, so it's got a lot of heart in it too. But it also is just basically it's the Ben Grimm gets called out onto a mission by a guy that he knew from back in his Yancey Street days. Basically, like the guy who was his bully when he was a little kid. And this guy comes over, he needs help, and Ben Grimm goes to help him out. And it's sort of a street level tale, and unwinds, as it unwraps, more and more supervillains end up wrapped up in it, and so it ends up being Thing having to fight a lot of supervillains, which is fun. So it has sort of like 2-in-1 vibes. Like it's a lot of like having to fight people that you wouldn't necessarily expect him to have to fight. So yeah, it's fun. Justin Mason's killing it on it. It's colors by and who is coloring it? Alex Sinclair.
Oh,
That's
there you
cool.
go.
Look at you.
Me and Jim Lee were basically the same, We both have the same color.
And Frank Miller.
And Frank, of course, yeah. Really the Mount Rushmore of comics. Me,
Exactly.
Alex Sinclair.
Perfect.
You're a funny bastard.
I believe Alex said this is his career achievement.
Yeah, that's what he has been saying. He's not in the email chain, but I assume that's what he's saying. He's like, right now is a high point for me, and he's not talking about Hush 2. He's talking about the Thing
hell no.
issue.
He's
definitely not talking about Hush 2.
Thank God DK3 isn't the last thing on my resume.
I don't think DC is even talking about Hush 2.
I think that's correct.
Not to be an asshole, but I mean, yeah.
And they're selling them.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are.
What a weird time to be they're putting out that Absolute Batman. Like, feels different, feels sort of, interesting and revolutionary. And then there's, again, hedging, like, we're also doing our most popular Batman again. Then we're relaunching with another new Batman afterwards. But there's no Batman in my story. It's all the Thing. I sort of pitched it as like the Warriors, but with Ben Grimm instead of the Warriors. Like he ends up on the other side of town and he has to get back to Yancey Street. And meanwhile, he gets like a bounty put on his head, and every supervillain that wants to make $10 million comes out after him. So it's basically just to fight his way across town. And it's been fun, and it's fun to get to write. I wrote the spoilers. I wrote the Wrecking Crew in a recent issue. I get to just
on Thor. They beat Thor. So
you gonna have Thunder in there?
They
quite possibly. I don't want to spoil too much, but it is interesting. The ones I got to ask for like a big list of characters, and it was fun to get to hear like who was on the okay list and who wasn't on the okay list right now. That's fun. And I got to use my Ohatmus that I bought, fully thinking like I was in my 20s, going, because I bought like the essentials. I have an enormous stack of them, and I was like, this is for my work. I make comics. I'm going to need these for my work. And for years, they were not for my work at all. And finally, I broke them out in a fully professional capacity.
Nice. You can finally write that off.
That's right.
There you go.
Thank God, 25 taxes.
Because we'll need it.
I wrote them off originally years ago when it mattered less.
Oh, there you go.
I wish I could have wrote them off this year. My God.
So it's I'm sure it doesn't have anything to do with what's going on regarding One World Under Doom and what Ben's currently up to. But is it in continuity? He's married with Alicia and everything like that?
No, it was not out of continuity, but they sort of the original brief. What they were looking for is they want to make sort of like evergreen miniseries is that can just be you just pick it up whenever and it's a thing story and it can fit whenever. It's supposed to. I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be there right when they walk out of the movie. They could grab the trade. We got hit with a little bit of, like I said, there were health troubles and stuff. So I think it'll still be coming out in issues when the movie comes out. But they have like a time period that they think of as sort of like evergreen Fantastic Four times, and it's sort of John Byrne Fantastic Four times.
Yeah,
like that.
Yep.
The Kirby stuff is like the proto stuff, and then if they're doing like this happens in just evergreen Fantastic Four times, they want that to feel sort of John Byrne. So to me, that means like that also means it's Chris Claremont X-Men times, and it means it's Frank Miller Daredevil times.
Wow.
And so it's sort of like 80s, late Bronze Age Marvel times.
Well,
Nice.
I got to say, it's a safe bet that I will be reading one Marvel comic in the future.
I think you're reading World One Nation Under Doom. Or?
Yes, One World. I like it a lot. Yeah, but I was also reading Venom, and that is no longer true.
Well, it's gonna it has a little bit of Susan in there for you. I had to write some Susie. I put some Serpent Society in there for my guy Jason.
Oh shit!
Nothing at all.
See, people at home don't know this, but I own a Tony Fleecs original, and it's a nude original. It's a nude Invisible Woman.
I didn't even do her boobs invisible, did I? They're visible,
Part of them,
partially visible.
yes, and I love it.
This is really the kind of content we need to get out here.
Yeah, that's right.
When we're doing my big Marvel debut. I got another Marvel thing that is still a secret, but I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh shit!
Oh, okay. Oh, Kurt.
The first thing I did was me and Seeley teamed up on a Wolverine thing last year, and then we teamed up for a real quick, like a one-shot thing that'll come out. I don't know, in the summertime probably. So I'll tell you more as more details become available.
You mentioned One World Under Doom. What do you think about that? Are you reading that?
I have not been reading it. I heard you guys talking about it, and it made me want to go grab it. Though
Okay.
It sounds way more interesting than it looked.
Yes, it is very interesting.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Thought-provoking, even. Yeah. Yep.
I just did not like the logo.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, I
Well-
saw the logo and I was like, "Thank you."
Again, yeah. I do believe, other than the forthcoming Thing book by Tony Fleecs, Marvel's in kind of a slump. And not only story-wise, but art-wise, cover-wise, design-wise. It just seems like nobody cares. And I know that could be the farthest thing from the truth. But when my eyes look at something and I see these things that come back at me, I'm not seeing a whole lot of interesting stuff at Marvel these days.
It's definitely. I've been thinking about it a lot because obviously I'm in there working on this thing. I'm making a couple things. I'm making the thing, and I'm making some other stuff. And I agree. Like it is different than even 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Like I wonder if it's the same way that like movies are struggling, comics sell less, and like is it from a tightening of belts? Is it just I was looking at the I saw Rob Liefeld chirping a little bit this week about way superhero books are drawn nowadays. He's on that, right? And like a case can be made. Like he's made a couple posts about like this is what they look like now, and definitely there's a lot of different factors, right? Like a lot of people are drawing digitally, and it has been like a writer forward medium for probably the past 20 years at superhero at Marvel and DC Comics.
I'd agree with that. Yep.
Like, I even think like I look at Uncanny X-Men David Marquez, which I think is beautifully drawn, beautifully colored. but also he's always been digital, or he's at least for the longest time been digital. And the issue 1 of that book, there were no giant shots of X-Men, and you look at like Jim Lee X-Men #1, and they're all giant shots of these X-Men, right? Like they fold them in half so that they could fit on the page. So you just get, like you can picture it, just like Cyclops with his fist forward, just like flying at the reader.
Right.
And I feel like in order to do more cinematic comics, people have been doing more sort of like wide shots and more smaller panels. And I think part of that is like the influence of manga. I don't know. I think about it a lot. And then the other side of it is, since those days, since like 90s comics and Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld Extreme Comics, there have been a whole generation, 20 years of Marvel movies, of X-Men movies, where we see the most incredible version, in most cases, of like what a superhero fight could look like, right? Like they've made it's like Alex Ross times 10, it's just like, here's a real guy and he's fucking swinging across Manhattan like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's just real. I'm looking at him, And so what are superhero comics, corporate mainstream superhero comics, supposed to be when if I'm reading Spider-Man comic supposed to be when there is a perfect, version of Spider-Man where it has sound and has special effects and, are they trying to do something different to differentiate themselves? Because you don't want to just be like the storybook of the movie, like you want to figure out what comics does better. And so I just feel like it's a time, like mainstream comics, I feel like are still trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing to in this world where things are different than how they were, 30 years ago.
Right.
I don't know.
And I think the books that deviate from the template, like Kari Andro's Reign 2, right? That's a strange book, right?
Well, those are the ones that's what I was talking about. Absolute too. Like that's why Dragata stands out. That's why Hayden Sherman stands out. That's why Martian Manhunter. I'm looking at it right. I bought it.
Yeah,
it's A. Rodriguez, right?
Javier Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rodriguez. Yeah, those stand out because they look so like you couldn't do that in a movie. You couldn't do that in, you could do it in indie comics, but they haven't done that traditionally in mainstream comics. So it's almost like it's being pulled 2 different ways. Is it supposed to be more like a movie, or is it supposed to be more like an indie comic?
And I just find it odd that it's like we do it, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that do it. It's like, give me something different. I want something totally left field, against the grain, something that takes chances. And then when we get it, nobody talks about it. Like, why haven't we been talking about Reign 2? That book is fucked up. I mean, it's just I go through it and I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. But yet it exists in this little pocket universe, and like nobody's talking. Because do we not talk about it because we don't talk about Spider-Man in general? I don't know. Well, DAP does. DAP talks about Friendly Neighborhood, but we haven't spoken on Spider-Man for years.
Yes, been a good minute.
I don't know. I don't understand people's tastes. I just don't, and how we gravitate towards things. Like, it seems like when something comes out that is radically different, you'll have a small group of people that'll be like, yeah, this is the thing. And then everybody else is like, nah, not paying attention to that.
I think it's generational too. Like,
I think so.
I watch a lot of people on social media, on like TikTok and Instagram, young people who are reading superhero comics mainly. And they're freaking out for like just the stuff that looks like regular comics that we've seen thousands and thousands of times. And I think for us, it has to be something different to get our attention.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, shit,
And then again, like if they're embracing the manga aesthetic, it's not showing at Marvel because you'd have a lot more.
They're embracing own parts of it,
right?
Like the what's it called? Like the relationship manga, the shoujo. Is that right?
Shoujo's girl, shonen is boy.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I learned that Yuri is girl on girl, and that's accepted. But yaoi, which is boy on boy, is shunned.
Mm-hmm.
Because I gave
feel like it's
I don't know why though. It just seems like a double standard. But I gave my class I have this red alert project where I implore them to never turn down work, ever. Even if you're overloaded, never turn down work. Right? Because then if you save the day with a publisher, you're the good guy or good girl, and they will return to you in the future to save the day or for more work. Right? So the whole gist of the project is I give it to them on a Thursday, and they have to have it by the next class, which is on a Tuesday, because the publisher really needs an illustration of a vampire, and it's just a spot illustration. Don't kill yourself, but you got to do it. And most of my class did Yuri vampires, two women, in the clinch or in an erotic pose. And I'm just like, wow, this is cool, but I didn't expect this, and then they schooled me on the whole Yuri yaoi, how Yuri is accepted, but for some reason yaoi is more, I don't remember how they put it. It's like one is embracing the relationship and one is exploiting the relationship. Like the yaoi is exploiting men on men relationship in a negative way. And I was like, I never would have picked up on that. Where is this coming from? I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Interesting.
Yeah, kids are weird. kids are weird, man. But I got a lot of half-naked female vampires sucking each other's faces and body, and I was like, okay, this works for me.
Upside.
Yeah, the upside is
we
definitely.
We don't know what's happening in the world, but at least we got that.
Yeah. What else do we have, gentlemen? I got something if you want me to speak. What do you got? No. I want to hear from you. What do you got?
I read this from the good folks at Oni Press, once again, not their EC Comics, but it is from somebody who works in the EC Comics. Tyler Crook drew this, written by Christopher Cantwell. Did we talk about this already out of Alcatraz?
Oh, I have that. Yes, I looked through it, and it's so nice. But I didn't read it, though, but I want you to talk about it.
Well, I won't talk too much about it. It's really beautifully drawn. And I grabbed it because I really liked Christopher Cantwell's other historical fiction, Oswald. What is it called? Like The Case of Oswald's Body. It was like a Lee Harvey Oswald historical fiction.
Cool series.
Basically,
yeah,
that was from Boom, and they sort of did the Cantwell's version of a conspiracy theory about Oswald, and this is sort of like his version of that, but for the escape from Alcatraz. So it's like assuming that we knew what was happening with those guys who escaped and just sort of following those guys and telling the story of it. And it's great. It feels like the film noir version of that story. These guys escape from prison and they're trying to lay low, and they've got somebody on the outside that's going to help them. They're sort of buying their way to freedom. Like they have somebody helping on the outside, but she's got her own secrets. I don't want to give too much away because it is sort of it's a mini series. If it sounds like if you're somebody who if you're one of the few people like me who read the Boom Studios book and wants more of that, this does feel like it would sit on the shelf next to that. It's like it's the exact same vibe as that. It's here's this thing you've always wondered about, and Christopher Cantwell is going to give you his take on how it went down, and it's got a lot of fun, damaged people interpersonal stuff, and also sort of historical, it sort of pops in little bits of historical stuff to just remind you that this is real stuff that we're talking about. It's based on real people, and Tyler Crook draws it impeccably. It's beautifully drawn. Great covers. Nice. Who be different? Looks like Tyler Crook also. Maybe Oliver Dominguez. It's just great looking. And the story's great. I love. I sort of came to Christopher Cantwell from Halt and Catch Fire. I haven't read any of his Marvel stuff. I didn't read his Iron Man. I think I read the first Blue Flame, but the stuff that really captures my imagination with him is this historical fiction stuff that he does. So hopefully he's got 10 more of these things lined up because I really like him when he does them.
I think the cover to the first issue is one of the best covers I've seen in a long, long, long time.
The movie poster looking one?
Yes,
it's sort of like Saul Bass.
It's yes, exactly. I was going to say Saul Bass. It's very designy. Mm-hmm. It makes great use of the space. It sucks you in. There's an arrow pointing. You see the title, you see the characters in distress, and the whole shape is an arrow pointing right along with the concentric circles, pointing right to Alcatraz. Like, that's a fucking great cover. That's how covers should be done.
I have another Alcatraz comic that I bought on Alcatraz, and it's by it's drawn by Steve Lieber.
Alcatraz.
We love Steve Lieber.
Yeah, he got a job doing like a for the parks department, like historical comics. So that one's a lot more like just your regular like. Here's the stuff that we know that really happened stuff.
No shit.
But this one is more historical fiction style. So it's fun looking at both of those. I'm gonna dig the Steve Lieber one up and sort of compare and contrast. But
so it's kind of like the stuff Eisner was doing for the Army.
The PS Magazine?
Yeah. Oh, neat.
Yeah. It's like just a historical like they sell it in a museum gift shop type of thing. You know?
That's awesome. Is there a panel in there that says, "Is this your card?"
I don't think he was working in Jimmy Olsen's stuff.
Always got to go back to that.
Yeah. I saw Lieber. I was at Emerald City Comic Con, and I got to hang out with him. I love that dude. One of the best.
How was Emerald City this year? Or was that prior year, you mean?
Buddy, it was terrific. I hadn't been in probably 10 years. Maybe less than 10, but the last time I was there, I was just drawing My Little Pony. I didn't have any creator-owned stuff to sell. And that show, you wouldn't know this, but as a pony artist, I knew all the other My Little Pony artists were there. So it was hot competition for the dollars at Emerald City Comic Con. I really had to fight and scrap to make money at that thing. But I would watch people that had books just sell out of them because it's like a smart, erudite readers culture up there in the Pacific Northwest. And so I sort of I was like, I'm not going back until I have books. And I went back with a ton of books, and I sold all of them.
Nice.
I didn't single fucking original, which sort of proved my point. Like, these people want books. And so I was very happy. I wish I hadn't brought those originals, but I had a great time there. It's a great people show, like every day I had I'm gonna have breakfast with so-and-so, and I'm gonna have dinner with so-and-so and hang out with friends. And so like a great people show, great business show. Yeah, it was good. I loved it.
Fantastic.
Weather not so great, but nobody's perfect.
Well, how about the senior heroin addicts on the street like we did when we were there?
Obviously, yeah, it goes without saying.
Yeah,
there was a little bit of that, not too much. All the Uber drivers warned us about where to avoid heroin addicts.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It do be like that though.
The lakes that we're used to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shout out to T-Boz. So I find myself, as I often find myself, in a weird place with G.I. Joe. Like, I should like the main G.I. Joe book more than I'm liking it. And I can't exactly tell you why I'm not loving it. But I'm not loving it. Like, I like raced through this issue. I was like, okay. And even it was like the climactic issue of the first arc. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I'll keep trying because it is a well-produced book. But I wish I was feeling the pull more. However, We are getting some
What book
nice...
is this?
What?
I'm sorry, what book is this?
G.I. Joe.
Oh, gotcha.
G.I.
Okay.
Joe. But we are gifted a fantastic solve for that, which is G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, Beachhead #1, which is the first in several they're putting out of the Silent Missions issues, and it's an homage to the original Silent issue with Snake Eyes. So they're re-releasing that. In fact, I think that actually came out this week. And then they're going to do, I think it's 4 of these one-shots by different creators. We're going to do one-shots about different characters, and it's going to be silent issues. So this Beachhead, which you all know is one of my favorite Joes, was written and penciled by a longtime friend of the show, Mr. Phil Hester, with inks by Travis Heimel and colors by Lee Lowridge. And it is a silent issue about Beachhead having to go up against a number of Cobra troopers, and he's hurt and being helped or protected by a family. There's definitely some like they don't explicitly, because it's silent, they don't say anything, but it feels sort of like a pro-Ukrainian situation. Like he's helped by some war-torn families that are sort of barely trying to survive, but they're still willing to help him and risk their lives. And then he has to kind of like leave their comforts of their protection and kind of strap one on and take out a bunch of badass, really well drawn by Phil Alley Vipers. And it's basically Beachhead fucking whooping ass. And I really enjoyed it. It's always nice to see Phil's art. I don't feel like I see it nearly as much as I'd like. And I always feel like every time I do reconnect with him and I'm like, oh man, I really like Phil Hester's art. He's one of those guys I don't find myself thinking about, I guess, when he's out of sight, out of mind. But when I do get a chance to read a book that he's drawn, I'm always like reminded of how much I like his line work. So, yeah.
Good old Phil.
Goodness for you. Thank goodness for this show. I feel like social media is so broken that somehow there's a Phil Hester written and drawn comic that came out this week and nobody told me. And now I know that I can go grab this book. I'm very excited about this.
He also has a story or two in the Oni EC comics.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
God damn it.
And because they are silent issues, all of them are written by the artist that draws them.
Which is awesome.
I got to be honest with you. That whole Nuff Said month at Marvel, I was like...
Well, this even precedes that, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, the original Nuff Said
issue 21. Right. Okay, no, but the G.I. Joe 21 came out way before Marvel did the whole Nuff Said month.
Right. But the Nuff Said month proper, yep. I'm like, nah, this is jank. I can't have this. I just blanked. I blanked on the entire month. And that's when I was buying everything Marvel.
Right, and so see, I wasn't aware of it until I bought the complete set on eBay of Black Panther, and that issue was, of course, part of that run. So it fit because it just, it made sense. I'm reading it in the moment, and it was fitting for that story. Were I buying, Avengers and Thor and Iron Man and everything else, then I could see it being a little bit
it's a lot.
Too much of
it was
maybe
a lot.
A not great thing.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
Wasn't the X-Men one of the Phantom X story?
To tell you the honest to God truth, I don't remember.
It was Morrison times, right?
You broke up. What did you say?
It was Morrison times. I feel like it was. It was Bendis Daredevil.
Right.
I remember specifically that one. And then I can't remember what the X-Men Nuff Said was, but I feel like it was a Phantom X, like it was like a silent Phantom X story, but maybe not. I feel definitely it's may vary. You got to be on your game to do a silent issue.
Oh, here you go. X-Men 121. It was Morrison. It was New X-Men. Nuff Said. The cover is Cassandra Nova, for what that's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helps if you have an artist that can do expressions, that can, help tell a story that doesn't have any words. If you're just going to have somebody who little on the bland side, then you're not going to be able to get much of a story across.
For this month, Kevin McGuire will be drawing all of the Marvel books.
Every single.
Well, or like Phil Hester writing and drawing himself, like that definitely has me excited to check this out. Like he can do expressions, he can do
Sure.
That is a
storytelling,
great looking issue. Yeah.
interesting
What
layouts.
I like about Phil is that even the inkers that he gets to work with him, like Eric Gapster, who is penciling, is drawing the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man book. He's never really overshadowed by his. You can always tell when Phil's drawing a book.
Well, I think like Mignola, inking Phil Hester is pretty easy.
It should be, yeah.
Right, I'm thinking Phil lays down those shapes very strong, and you're either going to fill in. What was that?
I feel like he was just raised in an industry where you're supposed to have inkers,
Right.
but
I
when
agree
he
with you.
inks himself, like that's where it's at. You know, like it's like a little rougher. Like he's had great inkers, but like the best Phil Hester inker is Phil Hester. But
Sure.
he's sort of like married to this style where it's like I pencil it and I write it, and it's sort of almost like it has to be collaborative. Every time I see him, I'm like, when are you just going to do something yourself? You know, like I don't need all this other shit. Just give me that. Give me the wretch. You know, give me the full Hester.
I got you. Yeah. Yep.
And also all like he has these collaborators who also don't need to do that. You know, like he's got Andy Parks can just write his own shit, and Eric Epster can draw his own shit and write his own. Like he has successful YA graphic novels and stuff. Like Phil Hester works with very talented people all the time.
Yeah.
Almost as if he's just like, I just like having friends around. You know, like I just don't like to be lonely. Where he can, go quarantine himself on the mountain. He could come down with the tablets and have like the pure Hester, the real good. But
He is Phil Hester.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Well, the first pro to ever treat me like I was, somebody. Very,
nice.
And not just me. Like he treats everybody who makes a comic like they're a pro worthy of talking to. He's a real good dude.
We
Love to
spoke
hear
to
that.
him briefly. We should have continued the conversation, but unfortunately, I forget what show it was, but we were talking to Phil. I think it was maybe Dap and I were doing it. Jason was
I had dinner with him at Windy City with Niesman.
nice.
He's got the weirdest. He will remember what you had for dinner. That's his weird superpower, is that he can remember where you had dinner, what everybody at the table ordered. It's It's sort of like that Mark Waid thing where Mark Waid can see like the top of a comic and tell you what it is and who wrote it and who drew it. He has that, but for dinners.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, it's just a useless superpower.
No, I think that's pretty cool. It shows
Well, I
that
mean, if somebody murdered somebody, that's good because he could definitely be an alibi.
What were the contents of his stomach? What? Truffles? Well, that was the guy over there who had that.
He did have the filet mignon.
Yes. I have another Dark Horse book.
It wouldn't be an O-Rama without it.
I think Dap has this. Jason, unfortunately, does not have the taste to buy these books, but Dap definitely has this.
Yep, it's right there behind me on the bookshelf. I see
There
it.
you go.
Yes, I do have it. Yep.
Written and illustrated by the great Richard Corben. Like I said,
Oh, I'm out.
I wanted the good stuff this week. And if there's ever a comic book artist that soothes my soul like very few others, it's Richard Corben. Some story collaboration with Mike Shields, and the color art is by Richard Corben, of course, and Beth Corbin Reed. The intro to this book is by Mike Mignola, who genuflects at the altar of Richard Corben, as well he should. This is the collected edition of Corben's Murky World, which was serialized in Dark Horse Presents and Heavy Metal, if memory serves. But I don't think it heretofore has been collected in one book. So it's nice that they finally got to give it up for Mike Richardson. They're doing good work with this Dark Horse Corben hardcover series. It's pretty quintessential Corben. to the point where he uses his Mag the Hag character as a story lever, a narrative lever, if you will. And I don't know what Corben saw in Mag the Hag, but he used her late period career. He used her a lot, and she's just foul, man. I mean, she's foul. She looks like an old man with breasts, large, pendulous breasts, and she's very horny. But Corben found something of value in her, so I shall too, I guess. But Mag the Hag comes across a man named Tugat, and this is very important. When she finds his body, he's unconscious and he's balding. He's in his 50s, balding, has a long gray beard. And she wakes him up and she's like, she goes, you got to go meet your destiny. Go. And she's like, okay, here's what you got to do. You got to go through the tangled woods and you see those 2 citadels down there? There's 2 of them. Now you go to the one over there. Don't go to the one to the west. That's not the one you got to go to. You got to go to the other one. So Tugat's not very bright and he goes to the wrong one. And he encounters a shapeshifter. And the shapeshifter has this ferocious pet with, it's a typical Corben organism. It's hairy and it has a long snout and maybe 300 teeth. Like, it's just this, I mean, if you're a fan of Corben, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So this Maldwed, this shapeshifter, curses Tugat. He's like, you're going to embark on a series of dumbass adventures. Everyone you know is going to die, and they're going to turn on you before they die, and you're shit. And then this is the weird thing about this book. I don't know if Corben got tired of drawing Tugat the way he was drawing him, or if he's just like, wait a minute, this will be a neat spin on the story. Tugat falls asleep. And when he wakes up, he's totally different. He's younger. He has a head of bushy white hair, doesn't have a beard. I just don't get it. And so Tugat doesn't remember too much of what came before, but he does eventually. And he's just going across this landscape. Eventually he encounters this woman. What would a Corben book be without a big breasted woman? Not a Corben book, I say to you. He encounters this woman named Moha or Moja, this warrior woman who's chained, and he frees her from this slimeball named Thurlon. But Thurlon eventually captures them and throws them into the arena, like they're forced to do gladiatorial combat, which gives Corben more than enough excuse to separate Moha from her clothes. Like, she has massive boobs. It's Richard Corben. Massive boobs, and you see the vajayjay, like everything. But unlike Corben books, this book is almost restrained. Like, if you've read Den, you know that Den walks around naked through almost the entire, how many books are there? 5 Den books? And he's got a giant thingamajig, and nothing's really left to the imagination. And the women that appear in Den are usually naked and have, I mean, you see everything. But in this book, like, Corben was almost restrained. There's nudity, but not all that much. But there is typical Corbenisms in this book. There's zombies and giant spiders, and there's a maniacal mandrill that rips apart a slaver, and there's a pair of warrior woman sisters, Bodan and Guno, and they both have giant breasts, and they're bald, and they fight in the ring, and there's a warlord who has a duplicitous daughter. Like, all of the trademark Corben things are in this book. The landscape is littered with these massive monoliths that are inscribed with sigils and arcane runes, and there's necromancers in it. There's a giant cannibal cyclops. But I did anyway. I got the feeling that Corben was making it up as he was going along. That's not a bad thing, right? When it's Richard Corben.
No.
It's like a very linear story about a man just trying to survive in this very hostile environment, and he falls in love with Moha, but she hates his guts. Towards the end, I don't want to spoil it, but he's dumb. Tugot's not too smart, but as the story goes on, he starts to resemble the character he was at the beginning of the story. And at the end of the story, there's an incident that almost exactly mirrors the incident in the beginning of the book that got him into all this trouble in the first place. But is this one of Corben's best books? No, I guess. But it's amazingly illustrated. It's Corben. So like the man was on the top of his game for the entirety of his career. So it's beautiful to look at. The figure work is very Corben takes liberties with his human anatomy, right? Men are gigantic proportioned, women have massive boobs and slim waists and other things. But there's a surrealism to this book where the facial features will twist, and they're very oddly proportioned. And you only see this towards the end of Corben's career. Like, he never did that. I shouldn't say never. He did it very sparingly in the heavy metal days and the underground days. But this book is really strange. You're looking through a lens that distorts what you're seeing and squishes it and pulls it and twists it. And it's odd. It's an odd book in the Corben catalog. But I'm glad I have it, and I read it and I was enthralled. But it's a lot like many of the Corben books that came before, which is not a bad thing. So if you're a Corben fan, you need this book. If you're not a Corben fan, I would not use this book to try and instigate you to read Corben's work. This is not the book to do it. I mean, once you're a fan, you'll be like, oh, this book is cool because it's all the stuff that I love about Corben, and there's some weird stuff in here too. But I would suggest reading Den first. And, the Arabian Nights stuff is great. Ralph is great. Like, there's a lot of books I would recommend to you, the uninitiated Corben fan, before this one. But if you are a card-carrying member of the Corben fan club, you need this book. That's what I'm saying. Murky World. I don't know if that was a great pitch, but I got to be honest, it's freaking phenomenal because it's Richard Corben. But where does it stand with all his other work? I don't know. I haven't really lined them all up and decided. But it's wonderful. The guy does stuff.
Did it make you feel better today?
Oh yeah. I read it as it was coming out, but because it was coming out in heavy metal, and then it bounced. There was a black and white version that came out in Dark Horse Presents. Like, I didn't remember all of it, but reading it in one gulp, I didn't really have to remember all of it because the story's kind of weird. Like, it's like, okay, I did this, and then I got to go find Moha and save her, but then something's going to happen, and then she's going to ditch me, and then I'll be by myself, and I get put in this situation. It's like, it seems like Corben was kind of like winging it and just making it all up as he was going on, which is okay.
Yeah.
That's all I ask. Just entertain me. And if you have a big boobed woman beating the shit out of people in the arena, and then the giant monkey comes and rips up. That's fun. It's just fun. And nobody does it.
Maybe my favorite.
Giant monkeys or big boobs?
Big boob woman, monkey rips people apart.
Okay.
You get those two things in a comic together, I'm on board.
Yeah, there's a giant
The
spider.
Frank show's cool, really.
And you always get with Corben stuff, you always get the feeling that H.P. Lovecraft is like looking around the corner of each panel like, I see you. There's a lot of Lovecraftian stuff in Corben's books. Which, again, I love Corben. Most people with taste do. That's it. What else we got? Tony, do you know that Jason hates Richard Corben?
Is that
This
right?
is still not true. No.
Is it because of
Ask him how many
Because I
Rich...
didn't buy these hardcovers.
He didn't buy any of them. Any of them. Not even the Den stuff. None of them.
It's true.
that doesn't sound like hate to me. That just sounds like
Nah, it's not hate at
indifferent.
all.
Oh, when you look
Not
at
hate
some
at
of
all.
this stuff on Jason's shelves, you'd be like, why don't you have the Corben? You got this stuff. This... I don't know. I'm
Surely he has like Corben and Hellboy stuff, right? Like he has
probably because
Indeed.
because it was included in the Hellboy library. That's why he owns it.
couldn't avoid it.
Yep.
If he could have, he would have.
Hurts my soul.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have to get you these books for Christmas or something.
Did you guys talk? We're taking everyone down with us already. Did you have a Matthew Rosenberg episode? I feel like he went on every podcast.
We did have a Rosenberg episode.
Son of a bitch. Well, I'm sorry. Of course I saw that. I listened to it. I couldn't wait to listen to it. Very, very sorry.
I did read this,
Yeah.
but I didn't put it on my list.
This interesting that him and Tyler both put out books. They usually collaborate, and then they did these books separately, and both of them are sort of asking, read the second issue to see if what we said this book was.
Yeah.
This book is. Right? Like they're both sort of like they're long first chapters, both this and They'll Do Bad Things. But neither of them get to the. I mean, at the end of We're Taking Everyone Down with This, we sort of understand like what the story is going to be. But it is interesting that both of them are just like, here's what this book's going to be, and then you get to the end of the first issue, and they're like, we promise this is this is where we're going with this. But in both of them, I had a lot of fun getting there. Like both of them, I was like, the vibe of this. I'll continue, checking in with what this book is. But it is interesting. There's just like, if it's Image, you could make it a 50-page first issue if you have to, But I guess at a certain point, you're like, how much are we going to charge for this?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Stefano Landini's art didn't do it for me.
No, I am vindicated. Thank the Lord that we're on the same page with this.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah,
that's what was holding you back on this book, Vince.
Oh yeah. I wasn't feeling the art.
Weirdly too, he also drew the last Prodigy miniseries, Slave of Mars, and that his art took me out of that as well. So,
what's Prodigy? What do you mean?
It's the Mark Miller. It's one of the Mark Miller books.
Oh, okay,
Mag my bitch up, Prodigy.
No,
I was like, X-Men Prodigy had a miniseries. Why wasn't I told?
No, Prodigy is a character he's had in his Millerverse for a long time. He's the world's smartest man. Yeah.
No,
so.
Just like X-Men Prodigy. Weirdly,
there is, and they have the same. Yeah, I mean similar powers. Yeah. They know stuff. Yeah, can do stuff.
We'll give the book a compliment. I really like the design sensibility of it. I think the cover's great. I love the cover, which was why I read it in the first place. I think the cover's wonderful. The typography's great. Just the little accoutrements, the three lines that come out of the E in Weir, that's great. And the colors popping and wonderful. I don't know. And then you get into the sequentials, and it's like it's competent, but it's too realistic for me. Do you know what I mean? Like there are lines that delineate the facial features and the bodies, and they're all where they're supposed to be, but they're all of similar. The line is of similar width throughout the entire book, and I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just this is not the type of art that speaks to me.
Yeah, it's not. You're not waking up in the morning for this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I don't think it's an unattractive book. It's just it's speaking a language that I don't usually vibe with.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm trying to be complimentary because I think there's a standard here and it's good. It's high, but it's
Well, I'm very interested in what the second issue is because in both of these cases, I was like, I would like to know, what, like where this is going. What is the actual story that we're telling here? Because I like the setup, but it's like, is this a story about? Is it a revenge story about this girl? Because that's sort of what they've been hinting at in the promotion of this thing. Is that like it's about this girl that has this sort of strained relationship with her superhero father, right? Like her father's either James Bond or he's like Blofeld, right? Like not 100% sure which super spy he is at the beginning of this thing, but it is this girl has a strained relationship with him, and then we're gonna find out what the story's about as it goes on. But at the end of this first issue, it's like things will change when we come back next issue. Is an interesting end to a first issue for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's another example of the weird trend recently to title a book with a very, very long title.
Long ass title.
Yeah.
That's a Rosenberg special. Right? Like 4 kids walk into a bank where
But we got just this episode, I was a fashion school serial killer. We're taking everyone down with us. This one, like, it's just a long time. Do they not know I only have a certain amount of space within the featured image? Like, I can't put these books in
They
there.
do not.
They don't. Maybe they should.
G.I. Joe, a real American hero, beachhead.
Right?
Thank God they didn't add special missions in there.
Seriously.
Right?
Except for that one, they're all like Giallo titles. But only the Tyler Boss one feels Giallo-ish in content as well.
Yes, that's
I think we're on the same page with the Giallo, Tony. I love a damn Giallo.
Yeah, of course.
Because you got to pay attention. You can't.
Well, what I like about them is the same thing I like about some comics, where it's just like they are true artists, and sometimes they're putting these things out under constraints.
Yes,
but to make up for what they didn't have in budget or in time to put a script together, they will go hardcore in visuals. They'll go hardcore in violence, or in even sometimes in like the acting or the presentation. Giallo feels very much like comics. I mean, Celie and I are doing a Giallo thing right now, and it'll be out at the end of this year, and it'll sort of be like what I think about all that shit. But I do like seeing what other people's take is on that stuff. That's what the Tyler Boss one felt like to me. It felt very. I mean, obviously, it's like a masked, gloved killer that's doing very violent knife type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's drawing it? Or you don't want to say?
Oh, me and Jesus, Baxter, buddy. The Celie and me thing is it's sort of like a Local Man follow-up. Like it's
nice.
Celie's, this one is like the reverse. Celie's going to draw the most of it, but I'm doing all the layouts. So it's very collaborative.
Excellent.
We're definitely taking a swing. People are either going to love it or they're going to hate it, and that makes me excited.
Gloved
And
killer.
it also fits. Yeah, it'll definitely have glove killers. It fit very, very neatly into both of our oeuvres, but in a way that I'm excited about.
I always get that word wrong. I say it and people say you pronounced it wrong, so I don't even bother anymore.
I definitely just pronounced it wrong. I added a syllable.
I do it all. It's okay. I do it all.
I said it like ovary.
Who doesn't love ovaries? Well, some Giallo killers don't. Yeah.
Certainly, they're brutal with them for sure.
Yes.
I think at the beginning of this episode, it was Jason's dogs that were causing problems, and now mine is really just clomping around loudly right by my microphone.
That's okay.
Sorry,
it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a pass.
It's later on your... Yeah. This guy's prime time for him.
If they lasted this long, they love us anyway. So
That's right.
And you know who else we love? CheapGraphicNovels.com. CheapGraphicNovels.com. OGNs, trade paperback, omnibus editions, manga, slashed prices, 90% off and more in their spring sale. All those specials that Dap told you about at the beginning of the episode. Free shipping on your second order for your first-time customer. 2 words, shut up. If you're not a customer, why aren't you a customer? They're like the best place to get this stuff. CheapGraphicNovels.com. And wherever you listen to this here episode, do us a favor, a solid. Leave us a review. We appreciate it, and it matters a lot, apparently. And do not forget that we have a Patreon. Patreon.com. Tony's a patron. Patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. $5 gets you the Book of the Month episode and a heaping helping of behind the scenes audio, usually anywhere from 3 to 6 hours of stuff. It's like an unwelcome guest in your ears. It takes root. It doesn't want to leave. It makes a mess of the couch. And when you're done, you wondered why you ever listened to it in the first place. And we keep giving it to them because people seem to enjoy it. But $5 gets you that. $10 gets you all that and access to our Slack, where you can join the EOC Clubhouse, talk about stuff all over the place. Not only comics. There's a Book of the Month Club. There's a How You Doing channel. There's a shelf porn channel. There's anime, music, like you name, movies, TV, all over that. It's just scattershot, but that's how we like it. In your travels, I'm just going to cap off my Dark Horse-O-Rama with another Dark Horse book. What if I told you that for the meager price of $20, you could buy a hardcover containing the work of Mike Richardson, P. Craig Russell, Laverne Kinzierski, Mike Mignola, Dave Stewart, Gary Gianni, let's see what we have here. Randy Stradley, Paul Chadwick, Evan Dorkin, Jill Thompson, William Shakespeare, Tony Millionaire. There's more. Don't go anywhere because there's a lot more. Clark Ashton Smith, Sean Phillips, Scott Morse, Kelly Jones, Robert E. Howard, Todd Herman, Bob Fingerman, Roger Langridge, Joshua Dysart, Ron Wimberly, Guy Davis. Do you want me to keep going? Keith Giffen, Kurt Busick, William Hope Hodgson, Juan Ferreira, Paul Lee and Brian Horton. I'll cut to the chase. It's the Dark Horse Book of Horror. It is amazing. Like, this is one of my favorite things in my library. It collects a bunch of anthologies. 4, I believe. The Dark Horse Book of Hauntings, the Dark Horse Book of Witchcraft, the Dark Horse Book of the Dead, and the Dark Horse Book of Monsters, and The Stain from Dark Horse MySpace Presents number 15. Remember that when Dark Horse did the MySpace thing? That was a while back. But anyway, you get a whole bunch of comics. It is a couple 100-page book, 300, 400. It's almost 400 pages. You get a mess of comics, at least 4 Hellboy stories. And they're all great. You get some of Evan Dorkin and Jill Thompson's Beasts of Burden stories. The first of which, The Stray, is in here, and it'll choke your ass up. Not only do you get that, but you get classic text from like Robert E. Howard, Clark Ashton Smith, all illustrated by Gary Gianni. There's interviews with spirit mediums and witches, and it's nuts. This book is absolutely insane. It's not going to break the bank, and it's something that I guarantee you put this on your shelf, you will go back to this time and time again, because the stories are so freaking great in this book. It's an investment that will keep paying off in dividends for many, many years to come. I love it. You guys have this book?
No. Don't know that I've ever seen it.
Huh. It's a small format hardcover. Less than comic book size, but not by much. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's hardcover, $20. And it is amazing. There's nary a stinker in the bunch, which is a mean feat when you're doing an anthology, because it's like, it's like podcasting. Everybody can do podcasting, but problem is everybody can do podcasting, right? You know what I mean? But this is like everybody's on point. Every story, wonderful. Get it. The Dark Horse Book of Horror. I'm surprised you don't have it. I would have thought Tony would have this.
I don't have it.
You need it. After the discount.
From .com.
Yeah. After the discount, what are you talking? $14? $13? It's crazy.
Well, it's negligible for such an earner like myself.
It is. And I went into it never having read any of the Beast of Burden stuff. And that's on me, because Beast of Burden, that's a really good series.
I haven't read it either.
And you being the animal dude?
Yeah.
You should really read it.
I know. I will now. Now that I feel like I'm sort of out past where people would be like, "Oh, he's just ripping off Beast of Burden." I'll be like, I can say like, I didn't read it until T-Pump did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the stories, the Beast of Burden stories are paranormal tinged. Like at one point, a bunch of witches are in the neighborhood, and the pets are trying to get them out. And there's the Beast of Burden are mostly dogs, but there's a cat that they kind of sort of adopted because the cat was like by itself, and the cat assumes the identity of one of the witches' familiars and fucks everything up for the witches. But there's a Doberman that's really skittish and scared, and that's one of the running jokes in the book. Like, you got this massive Doberman that's a scaredy cat, but the Doberman comes to the cat's aid at the end, and everybody's friends, and it's very heartwarming. But there is a paranormal edge to it, which is wonderful. So yeah, Dark Horse Book of Horror. Get it.
Love it.
Looks good.
Who's next? Is it me? Is it one of you guys?
Nope. In your travels, since Vince already mentioned it, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man number 4, the penultimate issue of this mini-series, where Spider-Man crashes literally into Silvermane's headquarters with the rest of the while the Ox and Fancy Dan and Montana and Me and Mountain Marco are all just hanging out with him. Spidey shows up. He's there for a reason, because he and Nico were planning something. So while he's doing that, it's the whole, again with the sleight of hand stuff, to try to hack into Silvermane's computer, so this way they can reveal all the bad stuff that my man's doing. But while that's happening, of course, the numbers are greater, and Spider-Man kind of gets thrashed about a bit. He's definitely made some improvements based on history with these folks. So there's a bit of a booby trap action going on with the tank that holds the web fluid, but the last page brings us back to the first page of the first issue of this miniseries. So we're catching up to where the flashback began, and we'll see we'll see if he escapes the little bit of jeopardy he's got he's facing here at the end. But it's still a very entertaining miniseries based on the Disney Plus cartoon series. Christos Gage is your writer. As mentioned earlier, Eric Gapster is your artist. Jim Campbell on colors. So yeah, that's one of the few Marvel books I'm reading, at least for another month. So yeah, you're a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Nice. In your travels, I want you all to show your love to Tony's other book, Feral. He writes it. He doesn't draw it. Trish Forstner draws it with Tone Rodriguez chiming in too. And dude, I gotta say, it's way hard. It's way more agita to watch cute animals go through this than it was reading 150 issues of humans going through it in The Walking Dead. It's fucking. I get pressed about it, dude. Like it's stressful. It's stressful.
We're asking a lot.
You turn the crazy cat lady into the stuff of nightmares, which is an interesting little twist. But yeah, I just read 11, which I think is the start of a new arc, right? And yeah, man. So sounds like it's still paying your bills, which is also good news. But yeah, man. Everyone check out Feral if you're not.
2 graphic novels in stores right now. The first 2 volumes, first 10 issues, available everywhere you buy comics. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're still reading it. I appreciate you guys so much. Yeah, it's tough to sort of work the levels on that, like what's too much and what's not enough, and how do you keep people on board, and how, like, are these cats really in danger, and how, like, when's it okay to usually the prevailing wisdom is it's never okay to kill a cat or a dog in fiction. And it worked for John Wick, and it's worked for me a couple times, but it's definitely not a trick that you want to pull too often, because it is horrifying. Like, nobody wants to see it's something everybody as a pet owner has to live through. Like, it's sort of like the opposite of children, right? Like, you will see them die. And so having that sort of like existentialism hanging over us all the time, like, it hurts all the more when people decide to do that in fiction. So we take it very seriously, but also it is a horror story. So it's like, if they're the stars of this story, they're always, could go at any minute. So yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're digging it. If somehow you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics and you haven't heard ad nauseum about these books, definitely check them out. There's 2 ferals in trades right now. There's 2 stray dogs in trades right now, and there's more ferals to come. We're working on issues 12 FOCs on Monday, and then we're working on 13 and 14 right now. So, my In Your Travels, I have a couple that I haven't read yet, but I'm just so excited about that they're coming out. The first one is Cartoonist Club, which is out, by Raina Telgemeier and Scott McCloud. Like, that just sounds cool to me, like sort of like somewhere in between the Babysitters Club and the Scott McCloud Understanding Comics. It's like, that's what it is, like just a book about making comics and sort of like encouraging young people to make comics. I'm going to definitely check that out. It's from Scholastic. And then they just announced that Harold Schechter and Eric Powell are doing another, I don't know if it's true crime, but it's like they're doing a Frederick Wortham comic. The last one they did was Ed Gein. And their follow-up is Frederick Wortham. They did the Ed Gein comic, which is one of my favorite true crime comics of all time. And obviously Frederick Wortham, not as despicable and disgusting a person as Ed Gein, but I like that's where they, like, he definitely was a piece of shit. And I'm interested to see what their take is on his. It's called Dr. Worthless. It's in previews now. It's up for solicitation now. It comes out in July. And then the other one that I have started reading but I haven't finished yet because I've been very busy making all these things is Mansect from Smudge, Living the Line Books. Did you guys talk about it on here yet? I feel like you cover all of these.
Yes, we did.
We sure did. Yeah.
We sure did.
Man, do I love Living in the Line Books? Do I love Smudge? It sort of, Vince, you'll get this. They sort of remind me of like a Vinegar Syndrome or a Severin for, right? Like they're sort of curating trash comics and sort of like finding the gems where it's like, no, this guy was actually sort of like an unsung genius. And so I've only read the beginning of it, but I will finish it probably sometime this week. But yeah, I just love what they're doing there. I love the idea of digging up these things. I thought her Frankenstein was a masterpiece.
Yep.
And was the mushroom one?
UFO mushroom invasion.
Yep.
Yeah. Another masterpiece. Like, I just like that they're out there sort of like finding these little gems. I could spend my whole life digging through, piles of old manga and quarter piles and sort of looking for like these secret little hidden things. And I like that they're sort of curating this. So I really appreciate it. Mansect from Smudge Comics, Living the Line Press. And like Jason said at the beginning, read Uncanny Valley. The first trade of that is out now too. And it'll be wrapped up here in the next... I feel like we're bi-monthly. I don't know. They literally don't tell me anything about this book, but issue 9's in stores now, or issue 10's in stores now. 9 is at the printer. It will be out very soon. And then issue 10, the big finale issue, it was like an extra-sized issue, will be out sometime in the next month or so, next couple of months.
Nice.
Our featured image for this episode is almost entirely just letters. I mean, we're taking everyone down with us. I was a fashion school serial. Like, what am I supposed to do with these? They're too long. Too long. Yeah. It's okay. We try extra hard for you here at 11 O'Clock Comics. We want to make it look good. So in the meantime, get yourselves to a comic book shop, whether online or brick and mortar. Buy some comics, read them. You know you're going to love them. Maybe if you don't love them, it's okay too. Just get online and talk about them. Find people who love comics and talk to them about them. And when you come back, we'll probably be talking about them as well. Because we love comics. It's what we do. Yes.
You guys really do provide a service. I come on here, like, social media is broken, right? Like, I don't hear about what's cool anywhere else, and I feel like you guys are really out there figuring things out, getting to the bottom of things. I just ordered the confessional you guys talked about last week. Sounds
nice. So good.
Page Ender.
Yes. Wait, Tony, you on Blue Sky?
I am on Blue Sky, but I also am, I work a lot. I'm mostly.
I'm going to have to look you up. I didn't know you were on the Blue Sky. I'll follow your ass.
I'm on everything. I'm on Threads. I'm everywhere you want to. If you want to hear the same what I have coming soon on every different social media, I'm everywhere.
Yeah, I'll stick to Blue Sky.
Omnipresent.
Love you.
That's right. I'm still on X in case you just want to read my shit. Whatever you like.
Awesome. Well, here we go. Do you know what to do? You say goodnight.
Here comes the songs.
Yes.
Ah, Nico, you ugly motherfucker.
Yes.
He's so ugly, dude.
He is.
But he's a beast. He's a beast on the drums.
Really beautiful.
David.
I
think he's going to fuck it up this time. I think this might be the first time he'll ever get it.
Did you say David?
Missed it.
Nope.
He didn't think he said it yet.
He definitely missed it by now.
Question.
Nope.
The quintessential.
David.
Nice. The quintessential. I think we decided this, didn't we? One Heroes. The quintessential Iron Maiden song. The song that perfectly encapsulates everything Iron Maiden does.
My default is almost always, unless somebody can come up with a better argument, hallowed be thy name.
That's what it is. That's the song.
Thank you.
It's hallowed be thy name.
Absolutely.
Thank God you guys got to the bottom of it.
Well, I think we've been over this. This was in a car ride somewhere where Jason.
Yeah, it was on a car ride to the airport.
It was on a car ride down to Heroes when we drove to Heroes.
Oh, was it?
Yes, because Jason's like, what is this Iron Maiden shit? Blah, 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 blah. And we're like, all right, you want to hear Iron Maiden? We'll play some Iron Maiden. And we played Hallowed Be Thy Name. And Dap and I both agreed, this is it. Like, if you don't dig Hallowed Be Thy Name, you're not going to dig Iron Maiden. And Jason's just like, blew it off.
It's not he was like, play more 311. It's not, it's not a title track.
I think he did say that. Don't you have 311? And I'm like, no.
Featuring RZA.
Yeah,
so,
the RZA.
So it's not a title track. It's not like, it's a great fucking song on a great album, and it's just it's absolute. I mean, it's not, the catalog is great, but that song right there, absolutely, 100%.
One of my students came to class with a Peace of Mind shirt, and I'm like, "Oh, you like Maiden?" She's like, "Yeah, my dad is getting me into them, and I really like."
Granddad, my grandpa.
Stop. She said, "I really like this album," and I said, "Wait a minute, have you ever heard Power Slave?" And she's like, "Power Slave? Like, no." I'm like, well, then you haven't heard the best Iron Maiden album. Because the answer to that question is, I like Peace of Mind, but Power Slave is the album, dude.
I like Power Slave. You got 2 Minutes to Midnight. You've got, obviously, Power Slave, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Right.
Ace is High. Ace is High right there.
The Trooper? Isn't that on? No, that's on.
No. Trooper's
on Peace of Mind.
Or is it on Peace of Mind?
Peace of Mind. Yeah.
Wish I could split this room in half and just.
Hallowed Be Thy Name is on the Beast, right?
What's that?
Wait, what was that?
We need to go off to a Spaces on X and just and start having a chat.
Whatever.
Take a side over there.
And Hallowed Be Thy Name is on what? Peace of Mind, right? No. Number of the Beast.
Yes, it's on. I believe it's on Number of the Beast, which is probably one of my least favorite Maiden songs. What did you say, Tony?
I asked if Jason was going to Wu-Tang Run the Jewels.
No, I'm not.
That's crazy, though.
Well, only because we have so many other concerts that we're doing. We're doing going to see The Weeknd, going to see, of course, Kendrick and SZA, and also going to see Tyler, all in like a 8-week span. So, and I saw Wu-Tang and Nas on their last tour, and I was lucky because I was at that New York show when Method Man and everybody rolled in, and Busta Rhymes came in and everything. So I think I'm pretty good. I'm good.
Can't beat that. I saw them one time, but there was no Raekwon or Ghostface.
Yeah.
Raekwon or Ghostface.
Yeah. Does Iron Maiden still tour? Or are they all alive? They dead? I don't even know.
They're all alive. Yes,
alive.
They're not.
They still tour.
I know. I'm not even being facetious. I'm not being like. I'm not being funny. I'm asking like I don't. Like,
no, I don't.
Lots of musicians we love are dead, including many hip hop artists. It's not like
Yeah.
But,
I think they still tour. I don't know. I don't really keep an eye on the tour schedule.
I know they got that big ass.
They toured. I saw them within the last 2 years in South Dakota. They were there right after I did a show there, and somebody had tickets, and so I went. I sat in a box. I saw them. They had the big puppets walking around on stage. I took an edible and don't remember anything besides those puppets. A great time.
I've only seen them once.
I've never
seen them on Power Slave tour. I have a friend who's seen Iron Maiden like a bunch of times. He's seen Bruce Dickinson a bunch of times. Oddly enough, Dickinson's one of the only frontmen to do a solo career where the stuff is almost as good as the main act. Yeah. Dickinson's albums are really good. Fucking Chemical Wedding is great.
Mata Hoople.
Yeah.
But all the young dudes.
Yes. Okay, we hope we even...
Bruce Dickinson was in Not the Hoople?
No,
he did a cover.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Man,
what a
that
voice.
Would have really blown my mind.
What a voice.
Yeah, he's got a great voice.
We hope we've enthralled you with our Iron Maiden talk. But most of all, come back for more comic talk because we love you so much. And they're going to tell you. Go read Pharaoh, Uncanny Valley, get the thing when it comes out.
Get all of Tony's trades.
All his stuff.
Novels. Right. Local Man hardcover.
Right. That's in this previews.
Yeah.
Yeah. The previews.
It's written by Billy and drawn by me. That's not true. I mean, it's sort of true.
Yeah. Well, the good pictures are drawn by you.
Don't you guys create all the ads for your own books?
This is a weird one. They messed it up. They sent it to us, and they said, "Here's the." They sent it to us to look at. I wrote it back, and I said, "We write and draw it together," and then they just printed it anyway. But
wow.
I don't hold it against it. They send me plenty of money. I love them. I keep all my rights. They, just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah.
Now, who's your point of contact over there? Like, who do you have these conversations with?
Are we putting this in the episode, or what are we doing? Is this episode stuff, or?
It's probably. I'm not asking to.
Oh, okay.
Give secret codes.
We can go on another hour. I don't care. I just didn't want to,
I talk to Eric Stevenson sometimes, but it'll be different people for different stuff. The people that do the previews ad are different than the people that talk. When I'm pitching a book, we go right to Eric Stevenson, or when I have questions about the book market or sales, it's all different people, different folks.
So how are you feeling about this new Diamond acquisition, Tony? You optimistic or?
Well, I'm glad we got out of there before. Doesn't sound like they're interested in selling periodical comics. That seems a little stressful. But it does seem also, it seems like everybody sort of jumped before that, like it's basically just Dynamite, and who else was still there? Marvel's at PRH. Boom had
Distillery was
PRH.
there. Distillery had to leave.
Zenescope? Was Zenescope previews exclusive?
That might have been too.
IDW,
I worry
right?
for. Yeah. I worry for Barucci and Dynamite. Like those guys have always treated me very well. I hope they are okay. But I was very thankful that Boom has that Image especially has been sort of like out in front of this and sort of getting to someplace safe when it looked like shit was going rough. Shit was going to be troublesome.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Very terrifying.
Yeah.
My periodical comics were at a place that was distributed by Diamond right now. That would be a real stressful position to be in. I hope everybody that is in that position is okay.
For sure.
Yeah. And I had to laugh. I'm looking through this previews, and it's like Microcosm books are in there. And I'm like, holy shit, what a horrible time to join the previews. I mean, Microcosm does okay on their own. But for them to branch out into the quote comic book market, like smart, but could not have picked a worse time. You're in the very last issue of previews. Great. That's awesome. Yeah.
I definitely showed up to that party where the bar just closed and everybody's heading home.
It's like, oh, that was so much fun. Where you guys going? We just got here.
But that Alliance is the distributor that distributes like a lot of physical media, a lot of DVD and Blu-ray stuff, or I guess Blu-ray. DVD's not really that big a thing. But like that is a thing in the collector markets. I sort of wonder about if they'll be able to open up new markets, or if there's any if anything will change in an interesting way. I'm interested in that.
Yeah. But, if you remember, way back when, there was a DVD VHS section of the previews catalog, and then it just kind of went away. I think traditionally the tchotchke section of previews doesn't attract a whole lot of play, mostly because the stuff was retail or higher, and because they priced it higher because the companies wanted to make their money back after Diamond, the discount Diamond offers to. It's kind of like Goodman Games in the game section. Like Goodman Games is an awesome company, and they have great games, but if you look in the previews, the game books are higher than what you could get them for right on the Goodman Games website. So it's like, why the hell am I buying these things through previews? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Let's just hope things get way better.
I mean, not to bring it down, but the tariffs are gonna. I would be shocked if any non-big publisher solicits in this month don't get resolicited for higher prices in 2 or 3 months. Because
well, sure, but that's out of their that they couldn't control that.
No, but I'm saying like forewarned is forearmed. Like if you see a book and you're like, oh, this kind of looks dope, it's $12, I'm gonna order it. I would fully expect it will be canceled and resolicited in a month or two for $17. Because,
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
But such are the way of things when you have this unpredictable, insane shit going on.
I'm just saying. I mean, the
who knows?
Markets are GI Joe figures that we all love. That somehow I convinced myself it's worth paying $30 for are going to be $40 instantly. So
yeah, unless they're rolled back like they were before. But who knows?
Yeah, they're not going to be rolled back. At least not for a while.
I know we moved to a US printer in anticipation of this, and it should sort of keep things the same, at least on image books. But
that's great.
You know, yeah. And Korea, like how Korean were those tariffs? I don't remember seeing them on there.
What are you getting? What are you doing? What are you getting? What's
a lot of hardcovers are printed over there. A lot of trades and stuff are printed over there. But all the like periodical stuff is going to be printed here. Paperbacks will be printed over here. But like no American printer really has
25%.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to instigate a domestic printing industry.
Sure, if you want to prop that up,
you assume, and I believe incorrectly that these tariffs will lead to people saying, "Oh, let me shell out a bunch of investment into a U.S. manufacturing facility where I have to pay U.S."
Well, I don't know how that works, right? You know,
but that's what I'm saying. But that is the delusion that Trump believes. He honestly, in his heart of hearts, believes that, and he has been saying this for 40 years. So it's not like some new. He believes that if you tariff outside goods, that rather than what it's going to be, which is a massive inflationary tax burden on the American consumer,
which is
he believes. Right, he believes that. Business people will
just build everything here.
Yeah, I couldn't build a auto manufacturer before; it didn't make sense. But now that my European competitors have to pay 50% more, I can make that work. But the thing is, it takes fucking 5 years to build an auto plant.
Sure,
it takes fucking 8 years to build a data center. Okay, so you want the world to have a really like deep recession for 4 years while this shit gets built, assuming you can get people to build it. And then what happens when they build it and
nobody uses it?
Yeah, so it's just fucking ridiculous.
I'm long in the tooth, right? I remember when we had many different printers in the United States, and it was was pretty awesome. But they all went the way of the dodo for various reasons. Cheaper to get it outsourced and whatever. But pie in the sky, rose-colored glasses, it'd be really cool if we had a healthy publishing industry in the United States. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. Because everything he touches turns to shit. So, there we go. Sorry, we've overstayed our welcome. We love you. Tell them that you cannot live without them.
I mean,
I can live without you.
Just say it. It doesn't need to be. Just say it.
You guys have other jobs. I feel like you can live without them.
I mean, I could. I mean, I don't want to, but like...
I definitely can.
My people.
The only,
I can't live without you.
No, I couldn't live without you, but that's... I could still have a relationship with you even if we didn't do the show. Although, if that's not true, you'd stop talking to us if we stopped doing the show, but...
That is not true.
You're not a great...
No, it's not true. It's not true.
If we quit the show, you would stop talking to us.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
If you sent a letter and quit the show.
Would you at least read the letter? Would you at least read the letter?
You're just talking ridiculousness. This is just silly. I'm locked in. It's just I can't do without you.
What if one of us starts going senile, though? Are we allowed to Like end it then?
Well, shit, that's going to happen way before me, so I'll deal with that problem when it comes.
I'm saying it may be me. I have early onset Alzheimer's in my family. Maybe I start. I'm saying like,
We'll take care of you.
okay.
That's what Slack is for. I can tell you, you'd be looking for a name. I'll just Slack you the name, and you'd be like, you can say it and pretend it came from your brain when it really came from me.
All right.
He's just over there. Talking about Uncanny X-Force again.
Who's that guy that did Daredevil that was really good? What's his name? Well, it's definitely not Bendis. Frank Miller.
Man, the Bendis hate is crazy. Vince is untethered tonight. Like, he's just blowing people up like...
I'm just having fun.
Fragging everybody.
I'm just having fun.
Fragging everybody, man. These Sam Adams are hitting. Vince is going to be outside later. He's going to be out in the clubs.
Down with the Jews.
I love the Jews. Say goodnight.
Later, bye.
There you go.
Hey, everybody.
Peace enough. Oh, Vince, guess what? one of the Kennedy kids is about to go to college.
Ding.
And he very may well be going to Scranton.
I replied to your message.
No.
That was a different thing. That was a different
kid.
Oh,
that was a different kid going to Marywood.
Why is he? Was he coming to University of Scranton?
Yeah.
Accounting.
Physical therapy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a good school.
Keep an eye out.
It's a good school.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
I've never been, but he said he really liked the campus and a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a beautiful campus, but
nice.
You walk outside the campus and it's just like it's Scranton.
It's Scranton.
Yeah, it's Scranton.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Before we go, belated shout out to CGS for their 20th reunion. I mean, I know we talked about going. None of us ended up actually participating, but I hope everybody that went had a blast.
Yeah, me too.
20 years, man. That's
nothing but love. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for CGS.
That's right.
When's the 20th? It's got to be coming up.
Ours?
Our 20th?
No, we're in year 17. Yeah. We're in year 17. Yeah.
Well, then that is coming up, right? That means
if you consider 3 years coming up, yeah.
The planet might not exist in its current form in 3 years.
Nah, that's not true. That's not true.
No, don't
Earth will take care of itself.
Every year before I can retire from the college. So.
See, Jason doesn't believe in magic. That's where his heart needs to be reworked a little bit.
Needs more Corben.
Okay. Just gotta get to 2029.
Shit.
Better.
All right, I need a stopping
2029.
point. I need a stopping point.
Old will still be in college. I'm gonna need it. Yeah.
We love you, people. Bye.
Hey, goodbye. Yes, let Vince disconnect, please, God.
Well, where do you stop?
Stay tuned.
You know what I mean? If you keep talking, I don't know where to stop. Dogs sleeping with cats. Like, it's just a mess. It's a mess.
Complete anarchy.
That's it for that one.